welcome you all to the evening on this special event being organized where three major organizations are coming together: Ludhiana Management Association, SHM and ICBC. The Indo-Canadian, we call it Indo-Canadian Business Chambers. So all three organizations have collaborated together to bring you a growth opportunity, a business opportunity even today, very different from what we do regularly. Before we begin, I would welcome you all on behalf of Ludhiana Management Association. Ludhiana Management Association was formed in 1978 as an affiliated unit of All India Management Association, New Delhi, with the initiative of management academicians, senior executives and industrialists. Main objectives of Ludhiana Management Association are to enhance competence of member organizations through management education, to provide training and development to entrepreneurs and executives, interaction with top-notch industrialists and CEOs to provide a platform for management professionals and entrepreneurs. 750 leading industrialists, entrepreneurs, top management executives, management academicians, bankers and professionals, and it is one of the fastest growing management association in northern India. We have received 2 national awards from IMA. Some of the past presidents, like 2 names I would say, Shri Brij Mohan Lal Munjalji, Chairman Hero Motor Corp Limited, and Shri S.P. Oswal, Chairman Vardhman Group, have been awarded Padma Bhushan. Our past president, Mr. Rajinder Gupta from the Trident Group, has been awarded Padma Shri. Mr. Sunil Kant Munjal, Chairman Hero Corporate Services Limited, has also been the past president of CII. Some of the past keynote speakers have been Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Dr. Manmohan Singh, Shri P. Chidambaram, Shri K.V. Kamath, Mr. Anand Mahindra, Mr. T.N. Session, Mr. Arun Jaitley, Shri J.J. Irani, Mr. Shekhar Gupta, and there's a long list. And we have been hosting events every month. We have the best speakers from the industry, from the experts of various fields coming and addressing us and enlightening us. Before moving forward, I would request Mr. Ravindra Chandla to give away the welcome address, and I would also request our members to join us on the dais. I would request Mr. Ravindra Chandla, Mr. Hitanshu Bhardwaj from International Relations, Unis Portal Canada, Mr. Saqib Ranjan, Mr. Iqbal Chiba, Ms. Nadira Hamid, Dr. Sandeep Singh Kaura, and Mr. Patrick Hebert, our chief guest of the day. He is the Consul General of Canada from Chandigarh. Kindly give him a big round of applause. Then I have Ms. Harpreet Kaur Khan, Senior Vice President, Ludhiana Management Association, to join me on the dais. May I now request Mr. Ravindra Chandla, Regional Director North from SHM, to kindly give the welcome address.
Thank you, Shobhan. Our chief guest for the evening, Mr. Patrick Hebert, Consul General of Canada, Chandigarh. Mr. Kamal Kishore Yadav, CEO Invest Punjab, will be shortly joining us. Mr. Scott Matthews, Managing Director, Government of Saskatchewan, India Office in New Delhi. Mr. Somin Mandal, the Trade Commissioner, Foreign Direct Investments, High Commissioner of Canada. Mr. Rajesh Sharma, Trade Commissioner, Trade and Invest BC. Mr. Sandeep Kaura, Honorable Advisor to Skill India International Mission, NSDC, Government of India. My associates from members, esteemed members from LMA, Textile Club members, industry colleagues from India and Canada, distinguished guests, my friends from media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all. On behalf of Associated Chambers of Commerce Industry of India, I extend a warm welcome to all present here for the conference India-Canada Business Opportunities Invest in India, Canada. The central theme for this event is to explore international business investment opportunities between India and Canada. As we stand on the cusp of the new opportunities, it is crucial to acknowledge the vast potential inherent in the Canadian market. Canada's economic stability, abundant natural resources, as we all know, the strong ties to the world's largest economy, and make it an alluring destination for Indian business entrepreneurs and business houses to look for and explore uncharted territories. And India's prominent position as a global player in IT, tourism, healthcare, education, logistics, and clean tech sectors align perfectly with Canada's robust market for these services. These alignments open the door to numerous collaboration opportunities between India and Canadian companies in these promising areas. The time has come for us to seize this golden opportunity, explore new avenues of growth, and build bridges of collaboration between our nations. We are honored to be joined by distinguished delegation from Canada, comprising of embassy officials, local government officials, representatives, esteemed companies, all eager to engage in meaningful interactions with Indian entrepreneurs and industry leaders. Throughout this conference, we will partake insightful discussions aimed at empowering Indian business with the tools and insights they need to flourish in Canada, in Canadian market. Our focus will be on identifying opportunities, embracing innovation, fostering economic growth, bilateral relations between our nations. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the esteemed guests, participants, and partners who have contributed to make this event a reality for us and going to be a success. Together, let us embrace a spirit of collaboration and friendship to nurture the prosperous future for both India and Canada and the businesses there. Let the conversation begin, and may this event serve as a catalyst for transforming the change. So with this, I welcome you all again. So let's start. There's something very meaningful discussions out here, and in the question and answer sessions, we'll be having some Q&A sessions. So you are free to ask the questions related to whatever is being discussed out here. So I welcome you all. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Ravindraji. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you here today as we gather to explore and embrace the immense potential that lies in the realm of India-Canada business opportunities. This event marks a momentous occasion where three powerful organizations, Ludhiana Management Association, SHM, and ICBC, come together to foster an environment of growth and collaboration. We stand here with a shared vision to facilitate investment from India into Canada, creating a powerful synergy that not only benefits both our nations' economies but also empowers Indian business houses to scale new heights. Today, we embark on a journey of discovery, innovation, and partnership that will define the future of our bilateral ties. The ties between India and Canada run deep, anchored in mutual respect, trust, and shared values. As our economies continue to evolve and diversify, we recognize the tremendous potential to collaborate and expand horizons. Canada's thriving industries and stable business environment present an present an alluring landscape for Indian investors seeking strategic expansion and international diversification. This event is a gateway to a plethora of business opportunities, from cutting-edge technology, ventures to sustainable energy solutions, from healthcare advancements to innovative startups. Together, we will explore how these opportunities can harness the best of both worlds, leveraging the expertise, talent, and resources from India and Canada. Through meaningful partnerships and investments, we aim to create a ripple effect that will stimulate both job growth, enhance competitiveness, and also foster cross-cultural understanding. As we come together today, we invite entrepreneurs, investors, and thought leaders to embark on this transformative journey that has the power to reshape industries and drive socio-economic progress. We have top Canadian companies like Scotia Bank, Tim Hortons, Shopify, Royal Bank of Canada, Canadian Tire, so many growing companies who are having their presence worldwide, and we all are users of it. I urge you all to engage actively in the discussions today, share your insights, and build bridges of collaboration. There will be a question answer time as well. You can have your questions, you can network. Let us not only envision possibilities but work diligently to turn them into reality, making an indelible mark on the canvas of India-Canada economic cooperation. In conclusion, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Ludhiana Management Association members, ASSOCHAM, and Indo-Canadian Business Chamber for their unwavering commitment to organizing this remarkable event. Together, we shall pave the way for a future that is not only economically prosperous, but also nurtures lasting friendships and understanding between our nations. Thank you, and let the journey towards India-Canada business opportunities begin. I would now request Mr. Hitanshu Bhardwaj. Mr. Hitanshu is Head of International Relations at UNIS Portal. He talks about study in Canada and overseas education. I would request him to please speak a few words to our audience.
Hi everyone. First of all, I would like to thank ICBC, ASSOCHAM and Ludhiana Management Association for giving us this wonderful stage to speak to all of you, right? So, since it's about India and Canada, these are the two countries which has helped us grow and be where we are at today, right? So, UNIS Portal, if I speak about UNIS Portal, is a unique edtech platform, which helps a lot universities all across the globe enter different markets, and we help them to recruit students while counseling students, because a lot of opportunities are there in giving first-hand information from the universities directly to the students, and it is in some of the areas from the institution side, or I'll say people who are in between, not the right information are always imparted to the students, which actually helps, or I'll say the student ends up in the wrong place, right? So looking at that problem, UNIS Portal came up with this EdTech platform in 2020, where we were a team of 30 people, and we helped in the first year close to 5,000 students in giving them end-to-end counseling and help them end up into the right places. Then as the baby was born in 2020, in the first year it started to crawl. The next year it started to stand up. So in the next year we had close to 100 people, and we were able to help close to 10,000 odd students in terms of student counseling, right? Then next year, right, we are now a team of close to 210 odd people, and till now we have helped close to 16,000 students in terms of counseling. So it's not about direct counselings. We got our partner in terms of higher education institutions and schools, which we partner as well in order to get the audience as well as the partners to deliver the information to the audience directly, right? Which has helped a lot of articulation, twinning programs to happen, and which has helped institutions abroad and institutions in India to grow the level of knowledge which can be shared between the two countries, right? So this is something which UNIS Portal did, and as you start to grow, there are certain social responsibilities which an organization has, and it's all about giving back to the society. So recently we developed another department or another part in UNIS Portal, which is known as UNIS Home, which came into mind looking at the accommodation problems of the students once they go abroad, right? And this is something which makes the transition from a student's home country to the host country very smooth if you got accommodation to live in, right? So the parents are not scared where my kid would go and stay, how it would be security wise. So keeping all these things in mind, we launched UNIS Home. And as I said, it's all about giving back to the society. We pledged as UNIS Home that whatever revenue would be earned from UNIS Home would go into charity, for kids, into education itself, right? So that is one of the initiatives we took. And as our CEO, Mr. Sachdeva, who is here as well, he keeps on, updating new technologies or new innovation in terms of how we can grow student satisfaction, because that's something which was, I think, which not everybody looks into, but that's the main thing which I think if institutions or the students would prefer, that's where the excellence would come into picture. Because if a student is happy, they would be able to do things in a better way, and they would be able to learn a lot of things which they can't if they are either put into a wrong program or into a wrong institution where they don't want to go into. So, the student satisfaction to me, I think, holds a lot of weightage in terms of international student overall journey, right? So again, I would like to thank everybody for giving us the stage to express our gratitude in terms of thanking both the countries, so that we are where we are because of these two countries. I'd like to say thank you to everybody once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hitanshu, for deliberating on the success story of UNIS Portal. And thank you for coming directly from Canada to address the audience. We would also request Mr. Sakib Rajan. We welcome you, sir. Hi. Please join us on the dais. And please join us to share the success story. Please join us on the stage. Mr. Sakib Rajan is the Business Development Manager at Canadian SIM at Toronto, Canada. He's joined us from Canada today. He's a seasoned marketing and events manager with overall 6 years of experience in marketing and communications, event management, office management, technical production, and web development. He has coordinated JobFest, one of Canada's largest orientation week events. We welcome you, sir. Please share the success story of what you do at Canadian SIM. We're here to listen. Thank you.
Thank you for that warm intro, and Good evening and welcome, everybody. Firstly, I'd like to just say thank you and a warm welcome to everybody over here, and a special thanks to the Chamber and particularly Shovik and Nadira for guiding us to be part of the ICBC Chamber. So my name is Sakib Rajan. I am the Global Business Development Manager for Canadian SIM. I'd like to just give a quick backstory on who we are and what we do. I'm based in Canada. In Canada, we operate as Wireless Data, which is essentially an exclusive dealer for Rogers and Fido. Rogers and Fido are one of the largest telco companies in Canada. It's a tier 1 company. If I were to give a reference, I would say similar to Jio and or Airtel. And so we are the largest dealer in Canada. We have been in business for 24 years, and we have over 27 locations in Canada. In India, we operate as Canadian SIM. We're a new company. We're sort of 3 years old. We actually started in 2020, but then a small virus came, and we had to shut the operations down, and we kickstarted back up again in 2021. Essentially, what we do as Canadian SIM is we provide a value-added service of a Canadian SIM card and phone number prior to arrival in Canada. So our target market is students and anybody else who was going to Canada, because we identified that the last thing that anyone thinks about before they leave for Canada is a SIM card, but the very first thing that they need when they land is a connection. Just like I did when I landed in India 2 weeks ago, the first thing I needed was a SIM card from Airtel. I guess that's what I got. Had I had the opportunity in Canada to get it, I'd be the first to sign up. So we essentially brought this journey earlier, and that's what we do. We provide that value-added service of that SIM card and phone number prior to arrival. So in 2021, we helped 7,000 students from India, and in 2022, we helped 30,000 students from India, and this year we're on pace to surpass 60,000 students. It's still a far cry from the overall numbers. For example, students, we all know over 200,000 or 2 lakh students go to Canada every year, and we're looking to sort of hyperscale into that segment. At the same time, diversify our portfolio in a sense that looking to connect with all of you here today to see how we could work together to be part of your ecosystem and provide value to each other. Because we all know there are different segments, such as PRs, workers, and such, who go to Canada who could use this SIM. So that's all I'm here to say. So again, thank you for welcoming me and having me here today. I look forward to connecting with you after this, during dinner, etc. And yep, let's do business and let's grow and scale together. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zakib. It's really great to hear the numbers. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Iqbal Jima, Co-Chairman, Punjab State Development Council, SOCHAM, and Executive Director, Punjab Film City Entertainment World Private Limited, to deliberate over India-Canada bilateral relations. Over to Mr. Iqbal Jima.
Hi, good evening everyone. His Excellency Mr. Patrick Herbert, Consulate General of Canada, based in Chandigarh. Shri Kamal Kishore Yadav, I think we are waiting for him. He's on his way, I think he got trapped in the traffic. Ms. Nadira Ahmed, CEO, Indo-Canadian Business Chamber, all respectable panelists from industry and government, my team of officials from SOCHAM, my industry colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. On behalf of SOCHAM, Punjab State Development Council, I extend my greetings to all of you at this interactive session. Canada and India have long-lasting bilateral relations built upon shared traditions of democracy and strong interpersonal connections. Canada is home to one of the largest communities of India origin that everybody knows. More than 400 Canadian companies have presence in India, and more than 1,000 companies are actively pursuing to establish business in Indian market. Indian companies in Canada are active in the fields such as information technology, software, steel, natural resources, banking sectors. Notable Indian companies from India which have invested in Canada include ICICI Bank, State Bank of India, Mahindra Tractors, Tata Steel and Minerals Canada, Tata Consultancy Services, Jaguar Land Rover, Tata Communications, Z Group, Aditya Birla Group, Jubilant Life Sciences, Infosys Technologies Limited, Tech Mahindra, SR Steel Algoma Incorporation, IFCO Canada Enterprise Limited, Avalon Energy Incorporation, Wipro Technologies, Prime Focus World and Polaris Financial Technologies. The state of Punjab is known for the enterprising spirit of its people, which brought about the Green Revolution and also made Punjab a hub of small and medium enterprise. The state is now a threshold of transition to a new culture of innovation and technology-driven enterprise. Top-notch infrastructure, excellent connectivity, premium educational institutes we have now, and conducive government policies add to the strength of the state. Major industries in Punjab include food processing, tractors, auto components, agro-based parts, bicycle and bicycle parts, sports goods, light engineering goods, metal and alloys, chemical products, textiles, IT, pharmaceuticals, and now even entertainment and tourism is growing on a very fast pace. I would like to add one thing. Please excuse me. I will go in a Punjabi language just to get a better intellect with the audience. मैं एक चीज समझता कि we have a very healthy relation with Canada. Everybody knows, and Canada is a developed country. और आप पंजाबी बैठे थे सारे इंडस्ट्रीलिस्ट बैठे नहीं थे. इंडस्ट्रीलिस्ट ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਾਰੋਬਾਰ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਦਾ, है ना? अपने बिजनेस बारे ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਦਾ. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ कैनेडा ने ऑफरिंग करनी है सानू कि भाई तुसी उत्थे आके इन्वेस्ट करो. इन्होंने अपनी पॉलिसी के सानू दस देना थोड़ा बहुता कि आ सुविधावां असीं तुहानूं देवांगे. हुण ये साडे जुगाड़ दे उत्ते डिपेंड करदा है पंजाबियां नूं कि असीं वो पर्टिकुलर अपनी इंडस्ट्री नूं उत्थे स्वीपली किद्दां इस माहौल दे विच उत्थे इन्वेस्ट कर सकदे हां असीं. क्योंकि देखो इत्थों कितनी पॉपूलेशन हुण वध रही है, उत्थे रोजगार हैगा, उत्थे ठीक है, तो मानते हो एम्प्लॉयमेंट है ही उत्थे, रोजगार तुहानूं उत्थे मिल रहा है. हुण तुसीं उत्थे जाके अपनी इंडस्ट्री नूं अपने प्रोडक्ट नूं उत्थे किवें डेवलप करना है, क्योंकि उत्थे होर भी कंट्रीज हैगे लेबर जिथे तुसीं सेल कर सकते हो. सो दैट पर्टिकुलर वन जुगाड़ यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट with the offerings to create a win-win situation for both the nations. And esteemed officials from Embassy of Canada and ICBC, we are delighted to have you with us today. And today MSMEs in Punjab are going global. I certainly believe that they can greatly benefit from the Canadian investment offerings for win-win solution for both the countries, as I said. So your engagement with the industry members today will pave the way for several growth initiatives inbound and outbound. We would like to hear from you more and looking forward to your presentation at this interactive session today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chima. It was really delighting the way you introduced the context of the day in the mother tongue. Thank you for deliberating over the India-Canada bilateral relations, and we understand there's a huge opportunity for both the countries to invest into each other and grow together. I would also request the CEO of Indo-Canadian Business Chamber, Ms. Nadira Hamid, to give away some special remarks on today's event. Without Indo-Canadian Business Chamber, this event would not have been possible today. Ms. Nadira Hamid started her career with the ITC group of hotels looking after their corporate affairs across India in order to capitalize on her entrepreneurial skills. She started her own company, LaFrance Overseas Private Limited, which dealt with human resources and structural steel detailing. She then moved on to managing corporate affairs for Michelle Group, an Australian company for India and Bangladesh. In her present role as CEO of the Indo-Canadian Business Chamber, Nadira has emerged as a dynamic, experienced and a visionary leader who has successfully created and executed strategies to make the India-Canada bilateral trade relations achieve new heights in the past years. As we can see today, we all have gathered here is all an effort of such members from the society. She exhibits her strong background with top-level government and industry players for their engagement in the India-Canada space. In her tenure of over 12 years as CEO, Nadira has championed the Chamber's commitment to serve as a voice of industry and facilitate exchange of knowledge between government and businesses in both India and Canada. Nadira successfully led, promoted and coordinated delegations to Canada that saw a participation of more than 100 delegates from various business sectors in India. She has systematically orchestrated business missions to build a higher level of business engagements and B2B platforms for SMEs to guide them effectively. She is also an integral member of the Project Advisory Committee developed by the Center for Responsible Business. So now we know whom to find if we have to grow our businesses in Canada. I would request Ms. Nadira to join us on the stage on the topic of Indo-Canadian business relations and speak a few things.
Thank you so much, Roman. I think that was a lot of information that you shared about me. I learned more about myself from your introduction. I am really delighted to be here. Good evening to all of you. Sat Sri Akal. I am extremely excited and delighted to be here in Ludhiana with all of you here. And I'd like to thank ASSOCHAM and thank you Ludhiana Manufacturers Association for partnering us in holding such a fabulous event over here. Without you both, it would not have been possible. And we are really grateful to you. And this is what we wanted to do, to come out and reach out to you people here. And this is what we have achieved. So normally it is, I think, Ludhiana, Punjab, which goes out to Canada. Today we have got the best of Canada to come to Ludhiana. Thank you, Patrick. Patrick Herbert, Consul General of Canada in Chandigarh. Thank you, Somen Mandal, who's come from Delhi. He's the Trade Commissioner, FDI, for the Canadian High Commission. Thank you, Scott, who represents Saskatchewan, and he's also come from Delhi. Rajesh Sharma, who represents British Columbia. He's come from Chandigarh. So I won't say along also. He's come from Chandigarh. Shavik, my colleague, who's come in here from Delhi along with me. Thank you also to Unis Portal. They make homes, making life easier for you to go to Canada, and also to Wireless DNA or Canadian SIM for making it easier to speak and to communicate. Thank you for coming here with us, and as I said, we brought Canada to you here. I just want to say this is particularly very exciting for me because I began my journey with ICBC 12 years ago, and I started from Ludhiana. Punjab, you cannot miss when you start doing work with Canada. And therefore, when I joined ICBC in March. In around June, we came here to Ludhiana. It was my first public speech. I was really nervous. As Chiranjeevi said, dhadku, that is in Punjabi, when the heartbeats go fast. It was dhadku then because I was it was my first public speech. It was to talk about Canada, which I had not been to before, to convince people that Canada is a good business destination. From then to now, it's been a long journey, but it's been a very productive journey. At that time, we had to say, why Canada? We had to convince you all कि Canada क्यों जाना है, business क्यों करना है Canada से. आज हमको सिर्फ कहना है how Canada, कैसे करना है business, कैसे करना है, कैसे वहाँ पर या तो grow करना है business, expand करना है business, आपको वहाँ पर जाके partnerships करनी है, collaborations करनी है. तो from why to how, this is where we are today. उस वक्त अलग challenges थे. हमें ये बताना था आपको कि please, when you talk to Canada, when you talk to Canadian businesses, please don't say no problem, because हमारा तो वही है कि anyone says anything, कल हो जाएगा, no problem. वही biggest problem हो रही थी, because you would say कि 1 month में deliver करेंगे, after 1 month there was no delivery, and then we'd say, oh my God, that's a big problem. So एक तो हमको no problem करना था. How to be professional with people from Canada. आज हमें तो कुछ कन्विंस करना नहीं होता है. वहाँ पर तो पंजाबी में everybody has got their visiting cards. आगे English, पीछे Punjabi. So today we don't have to, in any way talk. And you'll soon hear from Scott, who will surprise you with his Punjabi. So I hope I haven't let on to your big announcement later on in the evening. But these are things that this is on a lighter note. But definitely there's a very, very big connection between Punjab and Canada, and we are very honored to be the connector. So, Mr. Yadav, CEO, Dr. Kaur, he has joined us, so I can continue because I was told to. So the Indo-Canadian Business Chamber, we are the only chamber based in India which is dedicated to promoting trade and economic development between India and Canada. We have our headquarters are in Delhi, where we are, but we have offices in Bangalore, in Ahmedabad, in Mumbai, and soon we will start a representative office in Chandigarh. In the meantime, Shavik, my colleague, is here, and we are here on ground to tell you more about the chamber. We are focused on SMEs. We are focused on businesses that need to know कि Canada के साथ business कैसे करते हैं, and that too from the right source. Many times people want to learn about going to Canada, about doing business with Canada, but they fall into wrong traps. They don't know whom to approach, कहाँ जाएं, किससे पता करें. इसलिए हम ऐसे sessions से we intend to give you the credible people from the High Commission of Canada, from the Consul General, who will give you the right guidance and give you the right way how to do business with Canada. So therefore, these sessions are very important to us. Again, let me thank everybody who is here, and in case you need to know any more, we will all be around after the session. Once again, thank you for coming here, and we look forward to a lot of fruitful partnership with all of you and with, between India and Canada as we help the relationship to grow stronger. Thank you very much.
Nadira, I am sure you are carrying a lot of visiting cards today. And same as Shavik with you. We have with us Dr. Sandeep Singh Kaura. Dr. Kaura has just joined us on the stage. I would like to introduce Dr. Kaura. So, Dr. Sandeep Singh Kaura is working as an advisor to National Skill Development Corporation for Skill India International Mission, Government of India, with a focus to drive the vision of positioning India as the supply hub of skilled workforce across the globe. The focus is to implement strategy of bringing together international accreditation and certification bodies, overseas employers and international training partners by preparing young workforce of India on domain and linguistic skills as per globally benchmarked standards so as to meet this severe global skill shortage. Dr. Kaura is globally a well-known expert on skill development, working towards laying a solid foundation for strengthening the skilling ecosystem in countries of origin, having surplus supply of young workforce to countries of destination facing acute shortage of skilled workforce. Dr. Kaura holds an MBA, doctorate and Chevening Fellow from the University of Oxford and a doctoral research fellow at ISB Hyderabad. Dr. Kaura is a Chancellor of Lamrin Tech Skills University, Punjab, first skilled university in India incubated by IBM and other industry leaders like Tata Technologies and ANSYS Corporation, and has been an advisor to the Chief Minister, Government of Punjab, Skill Development and Technical Education since 2014, consecutively with 3 Chief Ministers of Punjab. It's great to know about you, sir. I would like to welcome you on the stage to share your special remarks.
Thank you very much. First of all, my heartiest thanks to ASSOCHAM, Indo-Canadian Business Chamber and LMA for inviting me here today on this occasion of a program where you are encouraging investment from India to Canada. So we have Mr. Patrick here from Consulate of Canada and other dignitaries on the dais and of the dais. My brief introduction is already given. So I have been taking care of skill development mission, particularly Skill India International Mission. Since all of you are here today to talk about investment opportunities from India to Canada, the most important aspect whenever we talk about investment is relating to a skilled workforce. And if you look at, we all know that India being a country with largest number of young workforce, and we are one country which, after meeting its own requirement, has a capacity to supply workforce to the countries which are facing a severe skill shortages at a global level. So if we look at when I represent Government of India for Skill India International Mission, and this is part of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India. And now this ministry has been working on creating skilling ecosystem in the country. You would have seen various skill schemes which are being run in India are under the domain of the ministry. And now ministry has set up another major vertical called Skill India International Mission. The Government of India is working on certain specific skills, keeping in mind the demand at a global level. And this is very interesting when we talk about, and particularly at this forum, when we are discussing about investment opportunities, particularly for Canada, and we have been working very closely with the IRCC and various provinces of Canada. The focus was to understand the requirement there in that country, what kind of workforce we require. And when we analyze our ministry through Ministry of External Affairs, we got to know that there are 10 major sectors where there is a need for skilled workforce, particularly in Canada and United States. And those areas where today this forum is going to talk about the investment opportunities. The moment you plan to do something in Canada, even if the investment opportunities are to be explored there, the most important aspect we need to keep it in mind is the availability of skilled workforce. I remember when I was appointed as advisor by the then Chief Minister in 2015, there was at that time the CEO of the very large organization Ford was here in Punjab. We met the Chief Minister, and the Chief Minister, he asked Chief Minister that, do you know why we have set up our another plant From Chennai, we have one plant. We have set up another plant in Gujarat. Do you know what is the reason? The Honorable Chief Minister gave credit to the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, who is our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, that this is because of him. He would have been there. He said no. Because he said in our Chennai plant, after the local population of southern India, the majority of the workforce which is working in that plant is from Gujarat. And this was a major attraction for us to choose Gujarat as our preferred destination for a second plant. And this is where, when we talk about this forum, I think any sector we pick up, the most important and relevant aspect is availability of the skilled workforce. And today when we talk about India and Canada, particularly you can't ignore this topic of skilled workforce. Today we are supplying a skilled workforce to Canada, and you all know the kind of craze our youngsters has to go to Canada. And that is where our youth is going to Canada. The most important aspect will Skill India International Mission is focusing that we don't want to stop this movement. Because as I said in the beginning, we have capacity. We have to develop the capability. The only point we have to focus is to change the route which currently they are following. They are selling their lands, they are selling their ancestral property, choosing the wrong ways to cross the borders. We want to give them a right pathway by skilling them here in our country as per the need of the countries where they want to go, their preferred destination. And when we talk about Canada, as I said, 10 sectors we have identified. Healthcare is one of the important sector, particularly post-COVID-19. The entire globe is looking at India for the supply of skilled healthcare workforce. And that's where we are working, and we are going to create a supply line which is there for meeting the requirement of the foreign country. I remember when we launched healthcare project in Delhi, there was a question that why are we doing this brain drain? Nowadays, this word brain drain to be swapped with brain exchange. It's no longer a brain drain. We are exchanging our brain. We are setting a kind of an ecosystem that our young workforce can go there and support the economies there. And particularly when we talk about Canadian economy, we are supporting them with the help of our skilled workforce. And the 10 sectors which we have identified, healthcare is one of the important area. We have another one is construction, where there is a huge opportunities, and the government is keen to set up a kind of a supply line here. We have third sector, energy is there, where there is a demand coming from the country like Canada and United States. Similarly, logistics, even for that matter, education. When we talk about supply of the teachers required there, particularly in mathematics and other languages, there is a dearth of those kind of workforce also there. So in that way, government has identified those 10 sectors, and under Skill India International Mission, we are creating that supply line here in India. That's the focus with which we are working, and I'm sure at this forum, whenever we talk about opportunity or investment in Canada or from Canada to India, this is a two-way traffic, I would say, and we'll have to work on creating the skilling ecosystem here in our own country. If you look at today, the kind of number going to Canada, we all are aware, but this year the data shows, as per our ministry, near about 200,000 young people have gone to a country like Canada and other countries like Australia and others. And there was a story there in the Tribune that if you see the heading of the story, the cost of foreign dreams to the parents in Punjab. This was particularly relating to Punjab. And it was mentioned there, close to about 27,000 crore have gone from Punjab to these countries. When we further dig down, we found that this is only on account of a fee. But if we add boarding, lodging, this comes around near about 63,000 crore, which could be around $9 billion US, has gone from there. This is one side of the coin. When we further went deep dive, because this is part of our ministry, we found that in that year, this is a report for 2018-19, this year the outward remittances are more. Vis-a-vis what we got in lieu of that, we've got the inward remittances back. And this was close to about $12 billion US. We also got back to our state. The point here is that our people who are going there, bringing back knowledge, bringing back the funds and inward remittances also to our country. And that is where we are to work now, that we can supply this skilled workforce along with the opportunities from India for investment in Canada. So just see, imagine any problem, the reason quoted was population. But now this terminology has to be changed. This population is going to be a boon for our country, because we are the only country at a global level, as I said in the beginning, which has a capacity to supply young workforce. And this kind of period for next 25 years is very important for us. Our Honorable Prime Minister talked about it as Amrit Kal. This 25 years is very important, and this is where India can really leverage its population, and we can create a kind of an ecosystem in our country, and we can create a kind of an ecosystem in our country that, look, we have the supply of workforce also, and we have a capacity, to supply this workforce to the other countries wherever it is required. So with this focus, we have been working very closely with all these countries. We call it as G2G collaboration, under government to government. We are talking to those countries and asking for the requirement from their side. As I quoted, Canada, we are very closely working with IRCC, which is the federal body, and also with the province, just to understand what kind of people or what kind of workforce they require. Similar is the case with the United States. Similar is the case with Australia. We have been working very closely, and very soon you will see that a kind of ecosystem which is being developed by Government of India and the Skill India International Mission is going to support our local industry here also, and also the industry at a global level. With that focus, we have been working, and I'm sure at this forum, while we will be discussing various level of opportunities, this kind of contribution from the supply of skilled workforce is also going to be one of the major catalysts in our discussion, and we can surely, set the benchmark and standards in our country for the overseas employment. So with these words, I once again thank the organizers, particularly SOCHAM, the LMA, and the Indo-Canadian Business Chamber, and we would definitely like to work with our local industry also here. Government of India is setting up various centers, which we call Skill India International Centers, which government has proposed in the budget, the 30 such centers to be set up, and each state we have to set up one major Skill India International Center, and there will be a spoke and small center also. And the two cities where we are focusing is, one is Ludhiana or Amritsar. We have to choose one, and we'll be setting up this center. Already one center is functional in Varanasi, which is really working well by supplying the workforce to these countries. And recently we got a requirement from Australia regarding tilers. You would have heard tilers were required there, and the kind of salaries they are offering to the tilers from India is phenomenal. They are being offered a residential accommodation full-time, and the salary package is really very good. And these kind of opportunities are coming because we are able to supply that skilled workforce. And we will be working very closely with all the association and the local industry here in Ludhiana. And of course with our Canadian consulate, we are already working very closely, and we will keep on strengthening our relationship. With these words, thank you very much to all of you. Thanks for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
was really wonderful listening to you, Dr. Sandeep. The kind of numbers that you have shared are really amazing, and really happy to see that the government is really working hard on skill development with special people like you who are really supporting the government for the same. It's time to welcome our chief guest of the day, Mr. Patrick Hebert, the Consul General of Canada from Chandigarh. Mr. Patrick joined the Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade in 1998 after completing his BA Political Science and MA Political Science from Laval University in 1996. At the headquarters, he was acting director of the Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Response Group. He was deputy director in this unit from 2010 to 2011, when it was coordinating Canada's responses to the earthquake in Haiti in 2010 and the tsunami in Japan in 2011. He worked in the Defense and Security Relations Division from 2003 to 2006 and was responsible for Asia and America. He first served abroad at the Embassy of France from 2000 to 2003. He served as political counselor at the Embassy of Serbia from 2006 to 2009 and at the Embassy of Sweden from 2011 to 2016. Most recently, Mr. Hebert served as political, economic and public affairs counselor at the Embassy to South Korea. Patrick Hebert was appointed as Consul General, Chandigarh in December 2021. Let's give him a big round of applause. I request all the dignitaries here to join us for the lamp lighting ceremony.
फोटो कर लो फिर कर लो
Mr. Patrick.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. It's really great to be back in Ludhiana, and frankly, to see so many people in the room tonight. I didn't know what to expect for a Friday night in Ludhiana, but it's quite impressive to see so many people tonight. And it is an honor to share the stage with so many friends, old friends and new friends tonight. But I'd like to give a special thanks to our friend at ICBC, in particular Nadira and Shravik, whom I usually meet in Delhi or Chandigarh. It's great to see you here in Ludhiana, but also ASOCHAM and the Ludhiana Management Association for hosting the event tonight. I'm also glad to see some Canadian companies on the panel and in the room, and I think that will make a big contribution to our discussion tonight. So a lot of things that I wanted to say tonight have already been said, but I'm going to try to maybe share some of my thoughts, and you'll hear more from my colleagues later tonight. But I must say that it is an interesting time to discuss business opportunities between Canada and India, including opportunities to invest in Canada. Indeed, ever since I arrived in India, that was in January 2022, I have witnessed how Canadian and Indian companies are enthusiastically building partnership and growing our economic relations. And for those of you who are following Canada-India bilateral relations closely, you will not be surprised to hear that our commercial relations now totals more than $125 billion. $125 billion. I don't know how much that could be in crore, but that's quite impressive. And this is led by portfolio investment of nearly $85 billion. So all the biggest pension plans from Canada and private equity investors like OTPP, CPPIB, but also Brookfield, Fairfax, are investing heavily into infrastructure, renewable and clean energy, and real estate. And in fact, India and Canada are now among the top 9 trading partners for each other's. And our two-way bilateral trade in goods and services has bounced back from the COVID pandemic and is now approaching $23 billion. And this is a record high for Canada and India bilateral relations. And of course, we also have several billions in foreign direct investment, nearly $13 billion actually of FDI. And we've heard some numbers before, but according to our statistics, we have more than 100 Indian companies that are invested in Canada, and about 600 Canadian companies that are invested in India. And I think that this has been possible partly because India has made enormous progress in becoming more business-friendly in recent years. And our companies in Canada are seeing some exciting opportunities for growth here in India. I would add that Canada is also an ideal partner for India because our economies are so complementary. For example, India is planning a huge expansion in renewable energy and has one of the largest food markets in the world. And many of you would be aware that Canada has great expertise in clean energy and is a global leader in agriculture and agri-food exports, something I had a chance to discuss earlier today when I visited PAU. But I would say as well that India is the world's largest IT services industry, which serves Canada businesses, while Canada's expertise in advanced manufacturing, AI, and data analytics can help meet India's needs. So this natural fit, I think, is why our governments are working hard now to conclude a win-win early progress trade agreement, which will lead to, that will be followed by a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. It's also a key reason why India is recognized as a critical partner for Canada in our Indo-Pacific strategy. And this strategy includes over $240 million to expand trade and investment in this region. It also provides support for more robust Team Canada trade missions for priority sectors like infrastructure and energy. And in fact, I'm very pleased to say that the first Team Canada trade mission under the Indo-Pacific strategy will be here in India. Our Minister for Export Promotion, International Trade and Economic Development, Mr. Eng, will lead a multi-sector delegation and as a result, further grow our economic relations, which is already very impressive. Now, while our economies are well interlinked, I think there's specifically tremendous potential to grow the trade relations between Canada and North India. So of course I'm based in Chandigarh, so I might be biased, but I see a lot of potential, for example, in agriculture and agri-tech, clean tech, and ITC. And for that reason, we work very closely with trade associations such as ICBC and ASOCHAM to support greater business and trade relations between Canada and this region. Now, when I speak to industry representatives or associations and commerce chambers, I usually like to give examples of success stories, and recently I've been talking about Canada-based company CleanSea as one of the recent success stories in our trade relations. But CleanSea is actually a company based in Saskatchewan, and my colleague Scott Matthews, who represents Saskatchewan here in India, will be on the next panel, and Scott is better placed than I am to talk about CleanSea, so I won't say more at this point, but I'd like to mention maybe another great success. There are many, but I'll mention a Chandigarh-based company, Testing Expert, which recently announced the expansion of their operations in Canada. And I recently met with the CEO of Testing Experts in Chandigarh, and he was telling me how the thriving technology sector in Canada, but also our skilled workforce and the business-friendly environment made it ideal for Testing Experts to further expand in Canada. So this is one of many success stories. There are many others, including some in the room tonight. We've heard a few from previous speakers. There are others in the room. And these success stories, I find them extremely inspiring. In fact, I would say just as inspiring as the passion and the drive for success that I've seen in the startup community here in Punjab. I know there's no stopping for the entrepreneurs in Punjab who are aiming for success, both here in India but also abroad, and of course including in Canada. Now, I don't think I need to say this, but let me remind you that Canada has been and is in fact a great investment destination for Indian companies. And as I said, we have some companies here today who can confirm this from their own experience. So if you don't believe me, please talk to them, but I know what they will tell you. And I will maybe summarize a few points. They will see that in Canada we do provide reliable government policies. We have a highly educated and well-trained workforce. We also have a strong innovation ecosystem. And as most people here in Punjab know, we have an open and welcoming immigration system. And that makes Canada an excellent place to start or scale up your business. We all know the importance of talent and skilled workers, but I would say that Canada has its own wealth of talent when it comes to hiring skilled workers. Indeed, more than 50% of Canadians are post-secondary graduates. That makes Canada the most educated population in the world. We're also the home to some of the world's top education institutions and a world leader in science and technology. Another thing that is important to many businesses when they look at investing in Canada is that when you locate your business in Canada, that also opens the door to world markets for your company. In fact, businesses enjoy amazing access to export markets thanks to our global network of free trade agreements. These markets, which include more than 50 countries, including a big one to the south of Canada, the United States, account for more than 60% of the world GDP. So this is also access that you get when you are based in Canada. And if you need another reason to look at Canada, to establish your business, we are consistently ranked as the best place in the world for the quality of life. And I think that should be an important consideration when we look at a place to invest outside of India. Let me conclude by saying that I believe that the bilateral trade relations between Canada and India is a great story. I also believe, I firmly believe that we can do much more than that. The question is how. We heard part of the answer from the previous speakers. Another part of the answer is also Canada's Trade Commissioner Service, what we call TCS. The TCS, the Trade Commissioner Service in India, is the third largest trade promotion program for Canada in the world. We have 8 offices across the country. Of course, in New Delhi and Chandigarh, but also in Mumbai, Bengaluru, Chennai, Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Ahmedabad. Yeah, that's 8. So, and our colleagues are here to offer you any support you need if you're looking at investing or trading with Canada. My office in Chandigarh is fairly small, but I can count on the support of 50 trade commissioners across those 8 offices who have the expertise and can help you connect with Canadian partners if you're interested in investing or trading with Canada. In addition, our footprint in India is augmented by the presence of 6 Canadian provinces: Alberta, British Columbia, New Brunswick, Ontario, Quebec, and Saskatchewan. And if you wonder why in that order, that was just alphabetical order, because I'm looking at Scott and he's wondering why did you mention Saskatchewan at the end. That was alphabetical order. And I'm very glad that Scott, who represents Saskatchewan, and my colleague Rajesh, who represents British Columbia, are here in addition to Suman, who represent the federal government, to interact with you and provide you more details or more information about doing business and investing in Canada. I see a lot of opportunities for Indian companies that are interested in investing in Canada, and I really look forward to continuing our discussion tonight, in the following weeks, and in the coming months. You know where to find me. I'm in Chandigarh. I'm a 2-hour drive. I'm looking forward to my next visit to Ludhiana and continuing our discussion with you in the next while. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hewlett. It's time for the question answers, where the audience has lots of questions, I think, in mind when it comes to investing in Canada. In Punjabi, we say, Canada jana sare bachche ne. Everybody in Punjab has this special love for Canada, and especially the parents and the youth who wants to go to Canada for jobs, for education, for growth opportunities for their life. So it's time for question and answers, and over to all of you. Can we have the person with the mic ready? Any questions to the panel here on the dais? You can please stand up and ask. Can you bring the mic?
Good evening, everyone. I'm C.A. Charanjit Singh. I have 2 questions. I have made investments in Canada. I have visited Canada. It is really beautiful, really very wonderful place to visit. But there are 2 major issues, and we are really frightened to visit sometime Canada. The healthcare system is really very, very poor. Very sorry to say. Even you have money in your pocket, you can't meet a doctor. No doctor is available even in emergency. Here, if we have money, I can consult at least 7-8 doctors in a day. In a week, I can go to 10 doctors if you can afford money. But in Canada, you have the money, but you can't see a doctor. Why this system is so poor, I am not aware. Secondly, in the name of controlling inflation, or in the name of controlling doing affordable housing, they are going to increase rate of interest every week, every 15 days. Why are they copying America? America has its own economic system. They have their bigger resources. Canada is copying America and increasing rate of interest day by day. With the interest, the real estate industry has gone down. It has crashed. But the rentals have gone high. They have doubled. So even our students are really finding it very hard to find a rental place. Whereas the real estate is crashing. Why is this so big mismatch? So please tell me why healthcare system is so poor and why we are increasing rate of interest just in the name of affordable housing. Please tell me.
We're just waiting for the mic to come. Anybody of you who can answer this?
Well, I will just say that I might disagree with some of the comments that were made. We have challenges in the healthcare system, like many other countries, but we're also very proud of our universal healthcare. I would also say that healthcare is a provincial responsibility in Canada, so I'll stick to that. We also have our own sovereign economic and fiscal policy, which is decided by the Government of Canada and the Bank of Canada, so I wouldn't comment. I'm not sure I understood the connection to the US, but I will leave it at that, and I think, Nadira, you wanted to ask that? No?
Ms. Nadira, you would like to say something on this? Got it. The next question, please. We have a hand here.
Yeah, this is a contribution to the questions, but what are the actual opportunities in healthcare system? As Dr. Koda said, that the healthcare is probably the most prime area which we are looking at. So what are the actual, if I have to go down what are the actual opportunities available in healthcare system?
As I mentioned, the healthcare system, like what Mr. Patrick just now mentioned, there's a universal healthcare system there. So they are facing a huge shortage of doctors, nurses, and the caregivers. These are three major areas where there is a huge demand coming up from the provinces, almost all the provinces. And what we are doing here in India is to train the workforce here, particularly in the allied health care and the nursing care. The nursing care is there in demand, and I remember couple of months ago, the Saskatchewan minister was here, and she was particularly very keen that we should create a supply line for Saskatchewan province. She particularly asked for, and similarly other provinces. Under G2G, we are getting a requirement for various healthcare kind of workforce. So like what you said specifically, the nursing healthcare, nursing care is one of the area, and also the social care, what we say caregivers. So they are in demand. But when we talk about here in India, we are also facing a shortage here in our country. But now Government of India is planning to increase the number of seats and also to bring some ecosystem so that we can have more supply of workforce, both for our country as well as for the Canada and other countries.
My particular question was regarding the doctors.
Right.
So if somebody is doctor in any field in India, is not allowed to practice in Canada unless the particular doctor clears some exam or some study over there.
Yes.
Which is again very expensive.
That is where not only doctors, if you talk about nurses, for example, even a nurse here who is qualified nurse, she can't do a practice there. There is an exam there to be cleared. So what government has decided, it's a very expensive exam. And this is where what we have done under our Skill India International Mission, we are going to provide all training here in our country. Like for example, NCLEX is one test which is mandate for the nurses. Similarly for doctors. So all those exams now, currently a nurse who want to go to Canada, the route is very long one. And also the cost is very costly proposition. We are going to bear all the cost, not a single rupee is being charged from the nurses who are being trained. And then this NCLEX examination preparation also we are starting, and even their assessment and testing cost also is going to be borne by the government. So similarly doctors. So those who are aspiring to go to Canada, we are getting getting them enrolled in our Skill India International Centers. And there we have expert trainers who are going to train them. And once they are trained, and if there is any technical proficiency required, we are going to bear all the costs. So doctor, nurses, caregivers, everything we are taking care.
Yeah, we would also request some specific questions related to investment in Canada, so that it can benefit everybody here listening to you.
Hello, good evening everyone. My name is Amrik Singh. I am belong to Ludhiana, and I went to Winnipeg, Manitoba about 7 years ago. I came here about 5 days ago. There's a grammatical mistake in speaking English. Can I speak in English and Punjabi? I have the 7-year experience in living in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So I have class 5 license there. So I and my wife go there on the supervisor status. My all family is there, all are Canadian citizens. So I have a long experience about business, and I serve the community there. I doing as a volunteer at Harvest, Manitoba, a very large food bank in Manitoba. I spent there about 1,200 hours, and I joined several NPOs there to deliver the food hampers to the needy families. So
what is the question, sir?
No, the question, I only the introduction.
Okay.
The question is, Canada is very beautiful country and have a very much diversity there. From all over the world, people living there. There is a too much ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਯਾਨੀ ਅੱਛਾ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਜੋ ਉੱਥੇ ਦੀ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਕੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਲਾਈਨ ਦੀ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਵਿਨੀਪੈਗ ਜੋ ਹੈ 7 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖ ਆਈ ਵਾਚ ਦੇਅਰ is multiply by 2 and 3 times, यानी कि विनीपेग जो इतना डेवलप कर चुका है कि वो 2 या 3 गुना बढ़ गया मेरे देखते देखते। बस इतना ही मैं कहना चाहता हूँ।
Thank you so much.
I watched today in the newspaper about the event, so I am so exciting. So I contact Madam Swati ji. They invite me. I am very thankful to her.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Can we have more questions? Yes, please. Would love to have more questions related to investment in Canada.
I was really surprised and having very good information from this seminar today. I just been to Canada last month and came within 2 weeks only due to some requirement that I have to come back. I was just about to set up a business over there and I have applied my name, and it is very good that through website only I could get my name approved and I'll get something. But now when I have to came back to India, now this I was required to incorporate my company over there. And for there in BC particularly, and I was requiring some information over there. How, being now in India only, I'm not in BC right now, how to get BC ID and all other things. So can we have any information center in India so that they can really help me out for further incorporating my company and I could start my business?
Patrick.
I'll be very brief. I think maybe some of those questions will be answered at the next panel when we have our experts from New Delhi and Chandigarh who will talk about more specifically about investing in Canada. Maybe they have more expertise than I do to answer those questions.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So we'll take the last question now.
Good evening, sir. My question to Mr. Yadav about the national skill development. So do you have any provision or any access to the law graduates to train, to get some training to do practice over in Canada?
Law we have not yet. As I said, we are going under G2G model. We are getting requirement from that country. So from Canada, the kind of requirement we have got, law graduate is not there. So we have not yet started. But in due course of time, if we get any requirement, we'll surely do it.
Thank you.
We have a question here first. Please bring the mic here first. Can we have it first over here? Can you raise the hand first? Mic वाले भैया इधर ले आओ. Either. Do shoot. Yeah, please.
Good evening to all the invitees and the members those has come to this very opportunity seminar. I myself am Chiranjeev Singh, General Secretary for the Knitwear and Textile Club. We have come here for a new scope that in Canada there is very big demand of our products, and we have already made a small survey and we are getting a very good output of that. We have hired the IIT experts from Roper and Bhiwani also. They have supported us and we have got a very good for their weather products also, sports goods also, and we have out of the way, it is the hour of the need. They are exporting or importing, but we have got the capacity. We are already doing the exports indirectly to the Canada. But we are very much interested that they must be in a proper way with all the bookings and the all things. I am very much lucky that we have got 4 companies or 5 companies offer to open their showrooms. One of their very good manufacturers is already sitting with me. First of all, I will request him. He is from the Octave Knitwear. Mr. Yuvraj is sitting here. I want to say, he will say a few words. Mr. Yuvraj.
Hi, good evening everyone. We have a background of almost 360 stores pan India, and we have a wide market base in Punjab, and there's a lot of Punjabi population moving to Canada. So we see a lot of opportunity of selling our merchandise and through our own exclusive stores in Canada. So if there's some platform that you can introduce us to, where we can maybe have some joint venture with some people from the background or the same business over there. And if there are any exhibits that are coming up for the textiles or the ready-made garments, that will be of good use to us. And if we can associate with someone well established from the same industry, that will also help us establish our footprint over there. So if that is there, yeah, we have a lot of potential there, definitely.
I think so. We have the meeting in the daytime also. In Punjab particular, we are making all type of the products, basically. Those are being exports to the Canada. Because mainly all the Punjabi families, they were already residing there for the last many years. So this is a very good time. The Canada government must come in front and must support to us, or we are ready to support them to have a good business terms on the food. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll have our last question here. Yes. So you can take up the questions, the audience, because we are in the paucity of time. So we'll have the networking time and you can take the questions there.
Yeah, India is a happening country. If you have seen, we also have a recent report from Morgan Stanley saying India is up and China is down. But I was just wondering, between the two countries we have relationships which have been described. So does Canada have a broad India strategy? What is it that they want to do with India in the coming, let's say, 5 years, 10 years?
Absolutely. As I said, we do have an Indo-Pacific strategy that was launched in November, so a few months ago. And in that strategy, it clearly says that India is a critical partner for Canada. There's a series of things that we want to do. Of course, trade is one of them. I talked about the free trade agreement that we're now negotiating. When I first came here, I was talking about the economic partnership. The number I had was $100 billion. We're now at $125 billion. I could go on and on. We talk about students. Right now, India is the #1 source country for all type of immigration to Canada. It's not only students, it's also PR, it's tourist visa. So within the 8 offices that we have a very well integrated network which focus on a few things. Trade and investment is one of them, but the people-to-people connections is also very important. And we look at other priority areas like security, climate change, the environment. But it's all very well described in our Indo-Pacific strategy. I'd be happy to share with you as well.
Can you ask it quickly, please? Take the mic on the table, please. I know you have been waiting for a long time, please.
Good evening everyone. I am Parth from PCD Badowal. So the main question is that Indian businessmen are very interested in Canadians, so they want to make relations, but there are lack of investment schemes, lack of knowledge of investment schemes and platforms available. So I want to know what are the investment schemes and the platforms which are available.
So for that we are going to have another panel discussion just right after this. So you'll get a lot of knowledge and then you can network in the dinner time as well. They are here. So thank you so much. I would now request Mr. Iqbal Chima, Co-Chairman, Punjab State Development Council, and Dr. KNS Kang, the past President, Ludhiana Management Association, and Director General, Punjab College of Technical Education, to please come on the dais and honor the dignitaries here. So please join us on the stage. Mr. Chima. So I request Mr. Ravinder, Mr. Hitanshu Bhadwaj to please join us and receive a token of love. Excuse me, sir. Please stay on stage, please. Mrs. Panchi. This is a plan for you as well. I request our chief guest of the day, Mr. Patrick Hebel. Please join us.
Yes. Thank you. Please.
This is another token of love for you. I request Mr. Dr. KNS Khan. This was Next, I would request Dr. Sandeep Singh Kaura to accept the token of love. I would request sir to please kindly stay on the stage for a moment, please. Mr. Sakib Rajan, can we have you here? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Can we have a group photograph? All of us? Thank you so much, all of you. We would request you to kindly join us in the audience if we want to have a panel discussion. And I also request Ms. Nadira Hamid to stay on the stage with us to moderate this panel. And we allow us 2 minutes to set up the stage for the panel.
I met you in ICS.
Pembina,
We are about to start in 1 minute. So welcome back. We are going to have a panel discussion on navigating Canada-India business corridor, strengths, sectors, and business aspirations. I think a lot of your questions will be addressed in that. I request the audience to kindly be settled. Ms. Nadira Hamid, CEO, Indo-Canadian Business Chamber, will moderate the session for us. I would first request our first panelist, Ms. Harpreet Kaur Kang, our Senior Vice President, Ludhiana Management Association, to join us on the panel. Ms. Harpreet Kaur Kang is an author of an internationally acclaimed book, I Am, published in Europe and accepted at leading world exhibits like the US Book Show, London Book Show, Lisbon Book Show, etc. She is primarily a life coach and writes about life in her book as well. She is a glider and pilot, turned journalist, turned academician and an entrepreneur. She has traveled to about 45 countries and has always been an avid reader, deeply interested in English literature. For 23 years, she has been the faculty for MBA students. Subjects she has taught is global business strategy, international business, consumer behavior, business communication, HRM. 8 years as correspondent with 2 leading English dailies of the country, the Indian Express and the Times of India. She is the Dean for International Affairs at Punjab College of Technical Education. To add a feather to her cap, PCTE has been adjudged as the best B school in Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, J&K and Rajasthan for the past decade by Outlook Magazine, APP News, ET Now and UTV Bloomberg. Next we have on the panel Mr. Scott Matthews. Can we have Mr. Scott Matthews on the panel, please? He is the Managing Director, Saskatchewan, India Office High Commission of Canada, New Delhi. Scott Matthews is the new Managing Director of the Saskatchewan, India Office. Mr. Matthews has been engaged in India on and off for over 25 years, having lived and studied in Varanasi and Chandigarh, as well as leading projects for a Canadian NGO in Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana and UP. Prior to taking on this most recent post, Scott has spent 17 years in senior management roles for some of Canada's largest organizations, leading major capital, stakeholder relations and human resources functions for teams over 44,000 strong. A graduate of Royal Roads University, Notre Dame University, Punjab University and University of Saskatchewan and Rare Crest College, Scott is a lifelong learner who is well positioned to support increased bilateral trade and investment. Mr. Rajesh Sharma, Trade Commissioner, British Columbia, to join us on the panel. Rajesh joined as Trade Commissioner for the province of British Columbia in 2023. He is an experienced professional with over 2 decades of experience in the field of international representation, cross-border trade and investment facilitation, consulting, banking and export credit. His immediate past assignment was with Australia in Mumbai, facilitating investment and bilateral trade promotion across the sectors of IT, energy and new energy technologies. Prior to Australia, worked with Export Development Canada, Export-Import Bank of India and Credit Capital Asset Management. He has lived and worked in New Delhi, Mumbai, Singapore and now based in Chandigarh. We welcome you, sir. I would also request Mr. Saumen Mandal, CITP, FIVP, Trade Commissioner and High Commissioner of Canada, New Delhi, to join us on the panel. I request everyone to be seated, please. People in the waiting area, please join us in the audience. Mr. Saumen Mandal has about 2 decades of experience in handling trade, finance and cross-border investments. He was a part of private banking sector in India and has worked with ICICI Bank, corporate banking, American Express Bank and Yes Bank, where he handled trade, finance and investment portfolio. During his professional experience, Soumen has built a strong portfolio of business and institutional contacts involved in international trade and investments. He has strong relationships with SMEs, corporates, unicorns and startups in India. He joined High Commission of Canada in India as a Trade Commissioner for Investments in 2017. Since then, he has been promoting Canada's investment landscape in the Indian market by advising investment prospects on all aspects of site selection and investments in Canada. We welcome you. I would now request Dr. Prem Kumar, the Executive Director, Punjab University, Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, to join us on the panel. Dr. Prem Kumar combines in him qualities of vision building, organizing, motivating and leading teams to perform at their best. He is well regarded as a thought leader in strategic management. He received Masters in Economics from the Punjab University, Chandigarh, followed by MPhil and PhD from Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. He has attended faculty development programs, management development programs conducted by IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Calcutta, XLRI and Harvard Business School. Mr. Kumar worked in senior executive positions in Jensen & Nicholson, Shaw Wallace and Vardhman Textiles Limited. He has been project director and acting vice chancellor of BML University, BML Punjab University, executive director at Bahra Group and vice chancellor Bahra University, Shimla and GNA University, Fagwara. Has served as a faculty at University Business School, Punjab University, Chandigarh, Punjab School of Management Studies, Punjab University, Patiala, and Department of Business Management, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, in the area of strategic management. Mr. Kumar is widely traveled and has made presentations on various aspects of business and management across the world. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Charanjeev Singh, Senior Member, SHM and General Secretary, Knitwear and Textile Club, on the panel. I think along with the questions you had, you'll have to answer a lot of questions today. Over to Ms. Nadira.
So, good evening again, and I'm really happy to be moderating this panel because through this, a lot of your questions on investment and doing business in Canada will be answered. We have a lot of experts with us, whom Shubhan has introduced so well and so kindly. So let me quickly get to start talking, and rather that they spoke, all our esteemed panelists spoke to you, rather than that I speak at this time. So let me start with Rajesh Sharma, the Trade Commissioner, who represents British Columbia here. So Rajesh, the government of British Columbia has been having their offices and their presence in India for many, many years. Could you share with us your province's trade and economic relationship with India? How has it been like? And a little bit about what it's been like.
Yeah, hi. First of all, thank you for ICBC and SHM and LMA for giving this opportunity to be present here and kind of discuss with you what British Columbia is here and how we kind of see our presence here making difference to the businesses. BC has been present in India for a number of years, I think in some form or shape. Just prior to COVID, BC government had its representation through a third-party agency. But I think we took a decision sometime last year to kind of have our own people within the fold of embassy or High Commission, as we call it in India, and consulate. So BC has its presence across the country in 4 different locations. The only province which is located in Chandigarh, myself, we have an office in Delhi, we have office in Mumbai, and we have office in Bangalore, or Bengaluru as we call it. In terms of what BC has been doing with India, I think the one statistics which I think you should take note of is that close to 30% of Canada's exports come from BC. That's quite a significant number. A lot of it is dependent on some key industries like minerals, coals, other things that come with it. But that 1/3 or 30% to be precise is like 1.5 billion in 2022. Along with that, there are a lot of companies which are present in BC from India. Most significant sector happens to be the IT, both big and the small ones. They are all present over there. So over a period of, say, if I were to say what did BC do over the last 5 years, since 2007, the trade or exports from BC to India have grown by 50%. It used to be about $1 billion of goods worth being traded from BC into India in 2017. We are now at 1.56 billion. Last year, we don't have the figures for this financial year as yet. So suffice to say, I mean, we are growing. Our footprint has grown over here. We continue to engage with businesses and look forward to kind of do more business, assisting Indian companies with their queries, and I think we have been having one-on-one discussion with many of you prior in the day, right before the start of the session as well, how BC can be an attractive place for you to do business, both, not just business as well, but also a longer term aspect of kind of, we also look at people-to-people movement, so this is a welcoming place for people to kind of go just for tourism purpose. It's one of the best cities, as many of you have expressed or kind of lived by traveling over there, and it presents a significant Punjabi diaspora over there. So many of you know the words Brampton and Surrey. So I mean, if you know Surrey, that's where I represent the province, and would be happy to kind of discuss more details, your interests, and of course how we can kind of work together to make it a reality so that it's a win-win for the province of BC and your businesses. I'll just stop, and then maybe perhaps during the course of further interaction we can address some specific.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh. Attractive destination indeed. It is one of the most beautiful places I've been to, British Columbia. Okay, so let's go to Soman. Soman, quickly, so you top reasons for any Indian company to select Canada, and how does free trade agreements come into the picture?
Thank you for your question. So before I answer the specific question, let me share the thoughts which I gathered during the previous panel discussion. So I'm based at the High Commission in Delhi, and I handle the investment portfolio. I help Indian companies to set up businesses across Canada. From Delhi, I handle Chandigarh office as well. I travel to Chandigarh, and probably every quarter I have been to Chandigarh. And one of the success stories that Patrick shared earlier, we have similar success stories coming out of Chandigarh because of the fact that we have been traveling to Chandigarh and have met a lot of companies. We have been thinking to look at Ludhiana, Amritsar, and London as few of the locations that we want to visit, and today, thanks to SHM, we got this opportunity. See, at the outset, I would say every investment proposal is unique, and it's a long-term proposal. But the idea starts from an activity or an event like this, where we engage with you, we share our thoughts. Today's panel discussion, you will find that a lot of answers that we give here on the stage would be more broader. It will be applicable for majority of the companies. If you believe that you have certain specific questions which is not addressed to your liking, then we're happy to engage with you one-on-one during the dinner and networking session, and obviously later. This is the first visit. I'm sure that you will make this visit in the future as well. Now coming to the specific questions of why Indian companies look at Canada. So here let me share a few numbers with you. We have done some analysis of FDI from India to Canada in the last 5 years, starting from fiscal year 18-19 till 2023. And I'm happy to share that we have more than 60 Indian companies who have invested from India to Canada across different states from India. And we have helped more than 100 companies to visit Canada to explore different opportunities. And if we divide, let's say, the sectors, then the foremost sector is technology. So it's a kind of an easy given here is that if there's any company within technology that is looking to access Canada, then the roadmap is pretty much clear. We can clearly present you with a document that will help you address all the questions, and you are good to go. While Ludhiana being a textile manufacturing hub, there was a question on opening a retail store. These are certain specific questions which we will want to sit with you and understand the scope of your investment proposal. And I would like to add that for certain specific investment decisions, government support would come at, let's say, stage 2. Stage 1 would be for you to do some market research and analysis whether your product and services would suit North American market. So you obviously understand that manufacturing cost is lower in India or let's say in China. Would it make sense for you to manufacture in Canada? Why Canada? So these are certain market research and inputs that you would want to do before you reach out to any government. Now, the question from you would be how to do this research. So we are connected with a lot of service providers across Canada that would include law firm, accounting firm, and real estate firm, which can give you a sense of the cost of operation of, let's say, a retail store. So once you are able to do this initial due diligence, then government machinery will come into picture and talk about how the government can support. One of the primary reasons of a lot of these companies which I mentioned, 60 plus companies who invested in Canada, the top reasons that we found out from the survey that we did was market access. In fact, we mentioned in this piece that Canada has 15 trade agreements with more than 50 countries, which practically give you access to 1.5 billion consumers. So while you have a large consumer base in India, but still, having an office in Canada would mean that you have access to US, you have access to Europe. And as we speak, both India and Canada are negotiating a trade agreement. Once that happens, we'll have more clarity on the benefits that the trade agreement would bring in. The second reason why many countries choose Canada is ease of doing business. And there was a question in the previous session, somebody asked about incorporation. So incorporating in Canada is a very smooth process. You can incorporate it while sitting in Canada, while sitting in India online. It's only for opening bank account for KYC purposes you need to be physically present. We can put you in touch with a law firm that works with us with different provinces who can help you to structure your company and incorporate in Canada. So here I would like to take a pause. Probably I answered Nadia's question of why companies choose this. First one would be market access of 1.5 billion consumers through the trade agreement that Canada has. And second would be the ease of doing business. And ease of doing business has a lot of components which obviously we can discuss it.
Thank you so much. So just one question before I go to my next panelist. Does anybody know that the dals that we eat are actually, we are importing from Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is the province in Canada which grows dals that we eat here, which is our everyday food. So I'm going to now ask Scott, who represents Saskatchewan, that there has been trade has been going on for so long between India and Saskatchewan on these kind of importing proteins, etc., from the importing dals from there. Give us a little bit about, from your point of view, about the trade relationship between India and Canada, the intergovernmental relationship between India and Saskatchewan?
Sure, yeah. Thank you, Nadira. So it's a pleasure to be here. I've only been in India for 2 days, but this is a priority for me to be here tonight. So, trade has been happening between Saskatchewan and India for a very, very long time, primarily in agriculture. So much of the pulses, lentils, the world's largest Masoor dal processing plant is in Saskatchewan. Uranium trade, Saskatchewan is home to the world's largest high-grade source of uranium. Saskatchewan is home to the world's largest high-grade source of potash. Last year alone, potash trade between Saskatchewan and India was $967 million. And as many of you would know, all of the farms in the breadbasket of Punjab rely on the fertilizer that comes from the potash that Saskatchewan produces. And so there's been a long history of trade between Saskatchewan and India, but it's in 2021 that India, or Saskatchewan, formalized its trade relationship with India by establishing a permanent trade office. And so that trade office consists of 3 team members, myself, a senior officer, and a coordinator. But we're supported by a very large investment and trade team in Saskatchewan, which is a benefit to you. Looking at investing in Saskatchewan, we have a whole host of specialists based on each sector in Saskatchewan that can provide you with expert advice and guidance depending on your interests for investment or starting a business in Saskatchewan. And so in terms of the largest sectors of trade, I mentioned uranium, potash, agriculture, also ag tech. So Patrick mentioned, also General mentioned, a company called Clean Seed. This is one of our most recent successes. Clean Seed is a Saskatchewan company that's partnered with Mahindra to make a zero-till seeder for the size of farms in North India. So the average farm size in Saskatchewan is 700 acres, and that's considered a small farm. Average farm size in India is 3 acres. So the size of equipment that's required is much smaller. So Saskatchewan is a global leader when it comes to everything about agriculture. How we sow seed, how we look after soil maintenance, how we harvest whatever we grow, and then how that harvest is handled and stored. And so there's opportunity for farming and agriculture in Punjab, in particular, Haryana also, to partner with Saskatchewan. And what Clean Seed has done with Mahindra in their first deal is with Northern Farmers Mega FPO for 1,000 units of their Minimax seeder. And some of you may be familiar with Northern Farmers Mega FPO or the Clean Seed Mahindra deal. But this is the kind of innovation that comes out of Saskatchewan that can be very beneficial for India, and also where India has something to offer Saskatchewan in terms of talent that is hungry and wanting to work and innovate. And Uncle G had asked earlier about healthcare. I worked in healthcare for 12 years and led large healthcare organizations. And Canada is experiencing an interesting shift culturally. And India can be a resolution to that cultural shift problem. That problem is the younger generation does not want to work full-time. They go to university, they come out with advanced degrees, but they only want to work part-time. And this particularly impacts healthcare and other major sectors. So the universities are graduating highly trained students, but those students then do not take full-time jobs. And that creates this immense drain in Canada, and we cannot keep up with demands of industry and government. However, youth from Punjab are hungry and they want to work. And so Saskatchewan has a high priority on skilled workforce recruitment. And so thank you, Dr. South, for your comments earlier. There's a high priority for Saskatchewan to recruit skilled workforce from Punjab. Punjab is Saskatchewan's #1 source of international students and #1 source of immigrants. And the Punjabis that are in Saskatchewan have a reputation for being hardworking. And so we want to continue to grow that. There's lots to say about the state of relationship between Saskatchewan as a government and state governments and central government. But what I can say as an overarching comment is that there's a very positive and strong relationship that Saskatchewan enjoys with both state and central government. And that's a benefit to you as a potential investor because Saskatchewan has opportunity to have full-time resources here that has the full weight of the Trade Commission, as well as support of state and central government to come up with innovative approaches to bringing Saskatchewan innovation to India and also Indian innovation to Saskatchewan. I'll pause there.
Thank you. let me pass the mic now on to the Indian side. So we start with Preet Kaur. So a very interesting question for you is that we see all the students going out to Canada, from Punjab, from the rest of India. There's a huge horde of students, all destination Canada. How do you think that we can build a demand and get Canadian students to come to India when there is so much of interest for them here, where we have, say, yoga, naturopathy, Ayurveda, Ayush, etc.?
Thank you, Nadir. Before I take off, I'm very psyched about what Scott said. Imagine if every Punjabi knew that every time we had masoor dal, it was made in Canada. They would be excited eating more dal than chicken. Yeah? But to flip it around, I've also heard that about every fifth Canadian has, at one point of time or another, practiced yoga. So I'm talking 35 million people here. Do the math. That's quite an incredible bit. Now to focus on this, last year, 2022, WHO took out a list finally for Indians, a bunch of countries which actually register alternative therapists and practitioners. Unfortunately, Canada was not one of them, even though several countries, including US and to some extent partially UK and Argentina and several other countries did. All the same, having said that, I believe the very fact that there's so much exchange between the two countries, there's so much Indian presence that side, and no matter what we say, I was asking Patrick earlier, he was my neighbor on the stage, and I said, how many Canadians live in India? He said, no idea. He said, a lot of Indian Canadians live here, but I said, how many Canadian lives here? He said, well, I don't really have a figure. And actually, internet couldn't give me anything either. So I don't know how many Canadians actually want to come to live in India. If you ask Punjab, how many Punjabis want to go to live in Canada? What do you think the answer would be? Yeah, whole Punjab would go. Damn right. It's pretty bad. Yeah, you're right. So it's quite lopsided right now. But the way things are in the world, and people are moving away from chemicals and drugs, they're moving towards naturopathy, organic food, alternative therapies. About 9% of Canadians have used yoga in their life as a therapy. So spirituality is big. People don't just come to India to meet the Dalai Lama and a lot of other people as well. So having said that as a base, I don't see why. I see that as a huge scope. Right now I have 3 Western countries. I've got 50 plus countries on the campus at PCT where I teach. And everybody who's we call you guys Gora, everybody who's a Gora, a Brazilian, a German or whoever, the first thing they do when they land here is, where can I go and do yoga? Where can I go to a meditation center? That's my first starting off FAQs that I built for them. So yes, it's going to happen. I couldn't find any numbers, but I'm sure it's going to be very reassuring. The times to come, India is going to rock this. Cheers.
Yes. Sure, I'm sure that's going to happen. So, Chiranjeev ji, nice to meet you again. सुबह मुलाकात हुई थी, आपने मुझे दर्दों का मतलब समझाया था. Tell us, apart from sectors of cooperation such as agriculture and education, agriculture मैंने बताया, education बताया, what are the other areas of cooperation you think between Punjab and Canada?
ओके, मैं थोड़ी जी पंजाबी बोलांगा इंटेंशनली, क्योंकि साडा और कैनेडा का जिहड़ा एग्रीकल्चर बेस वो बड़ा स्ट्रॉन्ग है. असी जिथे भी गए हैं, असी जिथे जाके एग्रीकल्चर को अडॉप्ट किया उन्होंने असी पंजाब वर्ग ही बनाता. अज की तरीक के जिन्ना पंजाबियों का कैनेडा के एग्रीकल्चर बेस से इन्ना स्ट्रॉन्ग होल्ड है, यू कांट इमेजिन इट. साल के सिर्फ 3 फसलें लेने तो उत्थों प्लान कर रहे हैं ਵੀ ਟੈਂਪਰੇਚਰ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਘਟ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਅੱਛੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣੀ ਵਾਲੀ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਤੇ ਆਵਾਂਗਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋਰ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ -40 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਟੈਂਪਰੇਚਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਵਰਕਿੰਗ ਔਨ ਦ ਜੈਕਟਸ। ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜੈਕਟ ਹੈ ਉਹ -40 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੜੇ ਆਰਾਮ ਨਾਲ ਬੰਦਾ ਵੀਅਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੋਰ ਜਿਹਦੀ ਉਮਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿਰਫ ਬੈਟਰੀਆਂ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਲਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚਾਰਜ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਚਾਰਜ ਹੋਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਬੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਕੰਫਰਟੇਬਲੀ ਆਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਪੂਰਾ ਦਿਨ ਕੱਢ ਲੈਂਦਾ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੋਬਾਈਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਬੈਟਰੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 3 ਬੈਟਰੀਆਂ ਪੈਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਗॉट ਏ ਵੈਰੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਸਕੋਪ ਇਨ ਦਾ ਟੈਕਸਟਾਈਲ ਆਲਸੋ। ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਲਾਈਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਕਰਨੀ ਪਈ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਲੀ ਨਾ ਨੀਡ ਬੇਸਡ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਲਾਈਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਖੁਸ਼ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਜਿਹਦੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨਵੀਂ ਫੀਲਡ ਆਏਗੀ। ਇਨੋਵੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ, ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟੀਵਿਟੀ ਔਰ ਵੈਲਿਊ ਐਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ। ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਤਰੀਕ 'ਚ ਇਸੇ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਹਰੇਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਕਦਰ ਹੈ। ਉਹਦੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਲੈ ਲਓ ਉਸ ਆਦਮੀ ਲਈ ਕੋਈ ਮੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਾਲ ਉਹਦਾ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਸਟਾਕ 'ਤੇ ਚੱਲੇਗਾ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟੀਵਿਟੀ ਔਰ ਵੈਲਿਊ ਐਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਔਰ ਇਨੋਵੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਰਹੇਗਾ। ਔਰ ਇਹ ਬੜੀ ਮਨਿਊਟਲੀ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਤੇ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਨੇ ਲੁਧਿਆਣੇ 'ਚ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਵੈਲ ਅਪ ਟੂ ਡੇਟ ਔਰ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਇੰਨੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਹੁਣ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਅਸੀਂ IIT ਰੋਪੜ ਨਾਲ IIT ਉੱਧਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਅੱਛਾ ਟਾਈਪ ਕੀਤਾ ਔਰ ਉਹ ਆ ਕੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਦੀ ਬੜੀ ਹੈਰਾਨੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ 350 ਕਰੋੜ ਰੁਪਈਆ IIT ਕੋਲ ਰਿਸਰਚ ਦੀ ਪਿਆ। ਇੰਨੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਉੱਪਰ ਰਿਸਰਚ ਕਰੋ। ਔਰ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਥੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਦੀ ਰਿਸਰਚ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਡ ਨੇਮ ਕਾਫੀ ਅੱਛੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਣੇ ਨੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਅੱਛੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਐਲੈਬੋਰੇਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇੱਕ ਸਪੋਰਟਸ ਵੇਅਰ ਦਾ ਆਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ। ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੂਲਨ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵਰਲਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੂਲ ਮਾਰਕ ਲਾਇਸੈਂਸੀ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਵੂਲ ਕੰਜ਼ਿਊਮ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਮੈਨੂਫੈਕਚਰਰ ਨੇ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਫਰੋਮ ਦਾ ਲੁਧਿਆਣਾ। ਉਹ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ 3 ਬਲੈਂਡ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਬਲੈਂਡ ਉਹ ਅਵਾਰਡ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ। ਇੱਕ 100% ਪਿਓਰ ਵੂਲ ਹੈ, ਦੂਜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 50% ਵੂਲ ਹੈ 50% ਅਦਰ ਫਾਈਬਰਸ ਹੈਗੇ। ਤੀਜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹਦੇ 30% ਵੂਲ ਹੈ 70% ਅਦਰ ਫਾਈਬਰਸ ਹੈਗੇ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਾਸਟ ਕਟਿੰਗ ਬੜੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਜੇ ਮੈਂ 100 ਰੁਪਏ ਦਾ ਲੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਮੈਂ 70-30 ਬਣਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਰॉ ਮਟੀਰੀਅਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ 30 ਰੁਪਏ ਦਾ ਰਹਿ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਕੰਪੀਟੀਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਸੌਖਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਔਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੰਨੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਨਵੈਂਟਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਹਾਊਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਵੈਂਟਰੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਧ ਗਈ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ ਕੇਅਰਫੁਲ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਸਟਮਰ ਨੂੰ ਸੈਟਿਸਫਾਈਡ ਕਰਨਾ ਨਵੀਂ ਇਨੋਵੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇਣੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਨਵੈਂਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕੰਮ ਹੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਏਗਾ। ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਇਨਵੈਂਟਰੀ ਅੱਛੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਕੈਨ ਡੂ ਐਨੀਥਿੰਗ। ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਹਰੇਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਹੈਗਾ। ਸਾਡੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਵੀਂ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ। ਹੁਣ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਇਟਲੀ 'ਚ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਵੀ ਗੂਲ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਭੇਜੀ। ਇਟਲੀ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਗੂਲ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਲੈਂਡ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਸਪਿਨਿੰਗ ਕੀਤੀ ਉੱਥੇ। ਜੇ ਸਪਿਨਿੰਗ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਨੀਟਿੰਗ ਕਰਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹ 'ਚ ਬੜਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਫਾਲਟ ਆ ਗਿਆ। ਉਹਦੀ ਬੜੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸਪਲਾਈਸਿੰਗ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਹੋ ਗਈ। ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਈ, ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਟੈਸਟਿੰਗ ਕਰਵਾਈ ਲੁਧਿਆਣੇ 'ਚ। ਉਹ ਅਲਟੀਮੇਟਲੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਲੁਧਿਆਣੇ ਦਾ ਯਾਰ ਬਣਿਆ ਸੀ ਦੈਟ ਵਾਜ਼ ਵੈਰੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਐਬਸੋਲੂਟਲੀ ਇਜ਼ ਅਪ ਟੂ ਮਾਰਕ। ਜੋ ਇਟਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਣਿਆ ਸੀ ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਮਾਸਟਰ ਨੇ। ਇਟਲੀਅਨ ਪੀਪਲ ਆਰ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ ਗੁੱਡ ਇਨ ਦਾ ਨਿਟਿੰਗ ਐਂਡ ਦਾ ਟੈਕਸਟਾਈਲਸ। ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਵੈਰੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਊਡ ਆਫ ਲੁਧਿਆਣਾ ਪੀਪਲਸ। ਮਤਲਬ ਇੰਨੀ ਅੱਛੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੰਸਨਟਰੇਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਬੜੀ ਅੱਛੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਲੁਧਿਆਣੇ ਦੀ ਨਿਟਿੰਗ ਔਰ ਟੈਕਸਟਾਈਲ ਹਰ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤਿਆਰ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੜਾ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਵਾਟਰਲੈਸ ਡਾਈਨਿੰਗ ਉੱਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਐਸੋ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ 7-8% ਤੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਹੁਣ ਇਸ ਵਕਤ 0% ਵਾਟਰ ਯੂਟੀਲਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਆ ਗਏ ਹਾਂ। ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ ਸੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜੀ ਪੀਯੂਸ਼ ਗੋਇਲ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੀ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜੀ ਲੁਧਿਆਣਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਨਾਂ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਮਾਨਚੈਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਇੰਡੀਆ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆਏ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਲੋਹੇ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ। ਮੈਂ 3 ਜੁਆਇੰਟ ਸੈਕਟਰੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਸੰਜੇ ਸਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ, ਮਿਸਟਰ ਪਾਣੀ ਨੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੰਨੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਬਿਊਰੋਕਰੇਟ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਅੱਛਾ ਲਿੰਕ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਉਹ ਆਪ ਹੀ ਲਰਨਰ ਆਦਮੀ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸ਼ੌਂਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਤੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਲਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ। ਇਟ ਵਾਜ਼ ਐਕਸਲੈਂਟ। ਲੁਧਿਆਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਟੈਕਨੀਕਲ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਬਿਊਰੋਕਰੇਟ ਕਦੇ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੇ। ਜਦ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਜਾਓ, ਜਦ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੋ, ਜਦ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਫੋਨ ਚੁੱਕੋ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਜਿਹਾ ਗਿਵ ਐਂਡ ਟੇਕ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹਰੇਕ ਆਦਮੀ ਦੀ ਲੁਧਿਆਣਾ ਇਜ਼ ਮਾਸਟਰ ਫॉर दैट। ਹਰੇਕ ਨੇ ਸ਼ਾਲ ਲੈਣੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ, ਫਿਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਸਵੈਟਰ ਲੈਣਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਵਿੱਚ। ਠੰਡ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਟੂ ਗੋ ਟੂ ਲੁਧਿਆਣਾ ਐਂਡ ਵੀ ਟੇਕ ਕੇਅਰ ਫॉर दैट। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਮਾਣ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ। ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੈਲਿਊਏਬਲ ਟਾਈਮ ਲਿਆ। ਸੋ ਨਾਈਸ ਆਫ ਫॉर द लिसन। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much. Let's go to yeah. Good. Okay, so just nowadays, everybody has this artificial intelligence, machine learning, AI, ML are really the alphabets that are the most popular. What, according to you, how can we, tap on this great potential in this area between Punjab and Canada?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to interact with all of you here. IT is India's driving force, and we have made a great name. The area of the future areas are the machine learning, artificial intelligence, IoT, Industry 4.0 applications of the technology. So the large language models that have been developed in, for example, ChatGPT-4 or the Bard of Google and many others. So ChatGPT is in fact an open source model. So if you look at Punjab, we are not very strong in IT, but there are individual pockets. For example, somebody I learned sitting in Hoshiarpur is doing the cyber security work for the best organizations in US. So where I see a lot of things happening in this area, or possibilities happening in this area, is embedding artificial intelligence into various domains. So ultimately artificial intelligence is going to drive everything from healthcare, as you are saying, the future applications of AI into healthcare, which can actually integrate Canadian, and it was pointed out that the healthcare sector in Canada is in some ways deficient, not able to. So artificial intelligence can help you bridge this gap. Similarly, artificial intelligence can have applications in edtech you were talking about. It can have applications in fintech that Rajesh and Somen were talking about. So I think there would be possibilities of doing joint product development across sectors using artificial intelligence, using large language models, and maybe we can also have a lot of applications in IoT related technologies. If you look at it, we are sitting incidentally in a city which is known as the city of entrepreneurs. So wherever we see the opportunity, we are able to make a mark. Coming to Charanjeev's sector, the textiles, where I also worked for a while. So Canada has a textile industry which is very small in terms of production. It has only, I think, $2 billion of but large in terms of consumption. And currently, you have the China and Bangladesh as major suppliers of textiles. About $12 billion consumption that takes place in Canada. But Ludhiana and Ludhiana particularly can have a great deal of investment opportunities in Canada because we have a large consuming market. And we have some disadvantage, which is in terms of the competitiveness, because Bangladesh enjoys the LDC advantage, the least developed country status, and as a result there is a 10 to 15% cost advantage. Now I was reading on spurred by Harpreet on the comprehensive economic partnership agreement that we have. I believe last I read was the 10th round that happened in 2017, and I'm not sure further rounds have happened. So if that takes place, it can be a game changer. And Punjab and Ludhiana particularly can have a great deal of, I would say, vertical integration. Because you have the manpower, you have the manufacturing. Incidentally, where we are sitting is also the manufacturing hub of the state, and in many ways, manufacturing hub of the country. For example, we are the largest cycle cluster, we are the largest sewing machine cluster, we are one of the large light engineering cluster, we are the largest auxiliary cluster. So if we can have those vertical relationships with Canada, I see a lot of people to people, our people going there, skills going there, but I don't see the economic integration happening in a way which can be the future. So if you can have those relationships where, the entrepreneur, for example, looks like Canada is deficient in entrepreneurs. So if you can, if ICBC can set up dedicated committees, for example, a committee for the development of textile industry, committee for the development of IT integration into the Canadian businesses, I think that looks to be the future. We can have a great deal of opportunities in integrating, as I said, mostly vertical, because you have one sector where you are strong, for example, consumption in textile or IT services, and another where we are able to provide IT services, we are able to embed the artificial intelligence, particularly that you mentioned, or IoT and other technologies into the Canadian service systems, whether it is healthcare, edtech, fintech, banking, financial services, and everything. I think that is specifically coming to. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kumar. I think that is something really that we will work upon. Thank you for your suggestions. And SIPA, we are all very hopeful that it happens this year. So let's hope and look forward to that. Scott, to Somen, I just want to say that since we are talking about technology, what do you think, Somen? And I think a lot of people, there were questions on that also. What are the incentives provided by the Government of Canada for technology and innovation?
Let me come back to the numbers which I shared earlier. More than 60 companies we have had, and more than 100 companies we have had to explore the Canadian ecosystem. To achieve these numbers of 60, probably would have interacted with more than 500 companies. And one of the feedback that we got from the business owners or the promoters or entrepreneurs who have successfully invested is that incentive provided by any government across the world cannot drive your car. It has to be sitting in the back seat. What would drive your car is you. You know your business. You have to hold the steering to drive your car, and the investment can be a filler or a byproduct of what you want to do. When we talk about incentives across the world, they can be categorized into two different, I would say, buckets. One is financial incentives that adds to your balance sheet, and the other would be non-financial, which are soft landing support that any government would provide. And here, talking about, let's say, non-financial incentives, I would want to highlight a couple of thoughts that Dr. Kaura mentioned earlier. And I think the comment that you mentioned on brain exchange, I would take it back with me. This is a very interesting concept. Because in today's day and age, in a time when the world economy is so connected, the concept of brain drain is outdated. We have to talk about brain exchange. And what does it mean actually? I was reading from Unique Portal what they are doing, EdTech platform. What essentially they are doing is, while they are operating in Canada, they are helping students across the world from India to go to Canada. These are the students, after they complete their education, they will build up businesses in Canada. And what would happen eventually? The money will flow back to India, or they will set up their offshore businesses in India. So it's a kind of circular economy that we are creating when we are talking about brain exchange. And this happened in the US. We all know that all the top tech companies in the US are run by Indian founders. And what they're doing now, they're setting up offices in India, creating jobs for Indians. So it's kind of circular economy that we create when we talk about the exchange. So I'll probably use this term more when we interact with different companies. The other point Dr. Kaur, you mentioned about skill development. Government will kind of realize about skill development and how it is important for companies, those who are multinational or working in more than one country. So in 2017, Government of Canada launched what we call Global Skill Strategy. Under this strategy, any Indian company who has a subsidiary in Canada can bring in talent from India in a faster process. So faster processing of work permits based on the skill set that you have, that you want your employee to move from India to Canada. So these, I would say, are the two soft incentive programs that Government of Canada has. Talking about financial incentives, there is one program that Government of Canada has, which is probably the most talked about, the most successful program that any investment promotion agency has across the world. We call it R&D tax incentives. Irrespective of the business that you do, I'm sure whether you are a technology company or a manufacturing company or a textile unit or an agri company, today we are living in an economy where continuously you have to do R&D to make your product viable to the international market. And here Government of Canada would support in providing tax credit in your balance sheet, which essentially means that if you do this R&D in any of the Canadian provinces, so there will be two incentives that Government of Canada will provide, one coming from the federal government and one coming from the federal provincial government based on which province you select for investments. So this directly hits your balance sheet, and this would include the cost of, let's say, the salary of all the R&D executives employed in your Canadian entity. But the only criteria is that this R&D should happen in your Canadian. The other incentive program is what we call Strategic Innovation Fund. It's a $10 million and above kind of fund which can be applicable for all different companies. Today I'll touch upon, let's say, manufacturing. In manufacturing, obviously the first thing that you need is CapEx, where you want to probably import different machines. So within this kind of innovation fund, there are ways where you can offset the cost of your CapEx imports from countries where Canada has free trade agreements. And the other fund which is more applicable for today's discussion on the climate change that is happening across the world because of the net zero pledge that both India and Canada has taken. So if you do any activity in Canada which is creating positive impact on the climate, then there is a fund which is called as the Next Zero Accidental Fund, which governments provide for you to do research and development and build your business in Canada.
Thanks, Soman. And to continue, the entrepreneurs from here who would like to go to Canada and set up business over there, so they would look for a legal expert. They would look for accounts experts who would help them set up their business. So any guidance that you can give them on how they can find these, and also how much time would it take, kitna time lagega for them to set up, a company in Canada?
This is a very important question, and I initially mentioned that there are certain kind of businesses or certain kind of FDI projects where as a promoter or as a business owner, you have to do your initial research or initial data crunching before you come to government. This is where service providers comes to the rescue. But the question for many companies is whom to approach. There are n number of law firms available in India, n number of law firms available in Canada. You are kind of in a dilemma whom to approach, whom to trust. That is the reason that you are coming to the government, because you know that the information the government will provide would be authentic. So here, what we can do is we can give you certain names of law firm, accounting firms, real estate firms, and different kind of service providers. Work with Government of Canada across provinces, whom you can directly get in touch with and get the kind of initial information that you need for setting up a business. Now, in terms of timeline, in the last 5 years that I've been here, the fastest that we helped a company, and that comes from the state of Punjab, that we are here in. We helped the company to incorporate in less than 2 hours. And how it happened, I'll tell you. It's a very interesting success story for us. So this company was contemplating to invest in Canada for many years. Before the time I joined in 2017. There was a time when they landed into a large contract from a US firm. But one of the parameters of that contract or one of the requirements of applying to the tender was that the company needs to be headquartered in North America, either Mexico, Canada or US. So they came to us since they were interacting, they knew whom to approach. So they came to our office in Delhi and said that I feel that I'm very well eligible to get this tender for me. I have the skills, I have the revenues, I have the talent to execute, but I don't have an entity. I need to apply and get the incorporation. So we help the company by getting in touch with law firms. Obviously, these are the job that is done by professional law firms, but we can provide you with certain list of law firms or accounting firms. Those can help you to structure your company based on your business requirement. So when I said that we help this company to incorporate in 2 hours, it's because they have been in touch with us for last 5 years, maybe for last 7 years. They knew what they are getting into. For every company, the stage would be different based on your information level, your comfort, and the kind of work that you want to do. But I'll close this by saying that certainly we could have a list of service providers across the spectrum, across Canada, which we can share with you so that you can have your conversation. And these are private service providers, so they will obviously charge for the services. So based on your level of comfort and your level of interaction, you can decide which service provider you want to choose.
Thank you so much. 2 hours, that's incredible. I think that's if any of you need to ask Somin any more questions about setting up your company in Canada or business, after this question and answer session, we are all available through dinner. There's no such thing as a free dinner, I think. So you're most welcome to ask him. But otherwise, afterwards also, send questions to us. Send us questions and we will get you the right answers. With that, I'll come to Rajesh. Rajesh, just since Somin is talking about Canada as a whole, the federal government, and Rajesh represents one province, a state. British Columbia, popularly I think Vancouver, which is British Columbia, not only for tourism but it is also thriving for business. So, what do you think are the sectors which are important between, say, British Columbia and Punjab? And also, since like say, Somin talked about it on the whole, the federal government and the incentives. How do you work with this, with the federal government in order to promote Canada as a whole?
Yeah, so I'll take your second question first because that's straightforward. So we obviously collaborate with our federal colleagues. Somin and I talk quite frequently, and if there are any information gaps that I'm not able to assist or he's not able to get, we usually would have a joint approach of kind of getting you the best answers from the experts from within the team. It would be very unlikely that between both of us, your questions remain unanswered. That would be a very unlikely situation. So we work collaboratively, giving you information, giving you answers that you need, and also work in terms of getting you across to the other side. So if you need to go and visit a particular place in Canada, and my interest would be obviously to take you to British Columbia because I work for the government of British Columbia, but you as a businessman would also be interested to evaluate other areas, and that's where I kind of knock on the doors of Somin. Here's an opportunity for you. We have someone who's coming to Ottawa or maybe Saskatchewan, and we have Scott over here. We kind of work it out so that at the end of the day, benefit to Canada, you're going over there, whether it comes to British Columbia, that would be my interest, but if certain sectors would not make sense for me, I would not even kind of guide you wrongly. I would rather tell you to go to this particular place or this particular province, which would make more sense for you. For example, if you're talking about, say, you want to service, say, clients in the banking and the financial service side of things, I would probably guide you to go talk to someone who is say, looks after Ontario, because Toronto is the main financial hub. If you have a solution for stock exchange, TSX, Ontario is the place. But in terms of, say, if you want to talk about certain, say, clean tech, I would be right up front to pitch solutions like, what do you want to do in clean tech? British Columbia is the place for you to be. And there would be other provinces as well with clean tech offerings. But BC is at the forefront of leading all things that is happening right from technology, innovation, be it hydrogen fuel cells, be it solar energy, kind of renewable energy from various other sources. It's happening in BC. So coming to the second part in terms of sectors, more relevant to Punjab, I think one area which we don't proactively go after and what makes more sense for this particular region, obviously education. So it's such a well established that I don't need to sell education to the people in Punjab. It's very well known. But when it comes to, say, educational partnerships between universities back in Canada and, say, higher educational institutes in Punjab or broader in India, we would get involved to get those connections, get those research projects or something novel that is being talked about between the two institutes. So education is definitely one, clean tech is one. BC has a very strong ecosystem on the aviation and defense side of things. So a lot of the pilot training, we see all the airlines expanding, Indigo, Air India. Where do they train their pilots? They send abroad. BC is a place that a lot of these pilots end up getting trained in BC. Other side of the other spectrum is agriculture, agri-tech. Saskatchewan is a leader, but so is BC in certain segments. For example, vineyards. So if you're looking to do something to do with, say, importing wines, even though the duty here is astronomically high, BC is a place for where you go and talk about some innovation in the winery space. Just 2 days back, I was talking to a company in the winery space which has got a tool to detect SO2 in the barrels, which is a novel technology developed in BC, and then it detects in like 80 seconds how much of SO2 is there, because you need certain SO2 levels to get the right taste in a wine. And those kind of niche innovation technologies in agri-tech and other areas continue to be championed in BC. And I think I would be more interested to kind of talk to anybody who has an interest, even as diverse sector as textile, even though BC has nothing to do with textiles, but I hear one of the fellow panelists talking about BC. There are, you would know a company, say Lululemon. It's a technology company in the textile athletics space, yoga wear, which is present in India. They have a big center in Bangalore. So there are kind of connections across sectors, but certain sectors, of course, makes more sense for BC to focus on. Thank you.
Thanks. That is any advice you want to give for potential investors to come to BC?
Well, I think the general advice, not just to BC, but also to, in general in Canada, is have intelligent conversations, because when you are looking to kind of invest, you know the business very well. We would be probing you in terms of your, like, what do you intend to do in Canada? Simply, I'm saying, can I start this business in this sector or some sector? So if it's a very not so focused discussion, chances are that you will not get right responses from the government side of things. But if it's a very focused, if you ask a pinpointed question, I do this, I need this information, how much it will cost you to hire X, Y, Z in this sector in, say, Vancouver, I can get you that information with much confidence. But if you tell me, how do I go about, I don't know what do I do, but I want to do something in Canada. That's a very kind of a generic, I would not be that interested to kind of serve. I would still entertain those questions, but I think my interest levels would be very low. So if you come with very specific pinpointed questions, that's what we are looking for. Engaging a very intelligent conversation. And the one parameter which we all evaluate your potential business kind of coming into BC or to Canada is what is the value addition you will bring to that particular location that you are going. So value addition, we look at two things: how much of dollars you are going to invest, and how many local employment is your venture going to generate. So if you give a proposal that, oh, I have this great idea, but I need 20 people, all 20 people will come from Punjab, may not work. Or if you tell, I will invest $10 million, but I need a lot of manpower, which is non-existent in VC or elsewhere, and I need to bring all those people from India. Will not work. So you have to look at the business proposal. You have to look at the cost of manufacturing. What are you trying to do over there? Does it make sense? Who are your competitors there? I mean, you might have a great idea, but if your idea is already being executed by somebody else, will you be competitive enough to kind of meet the threshold so that at the end of the day your proposition is you make profit? I mean, that's the why you would go with it. If you cannot make a profit, it doesn't make economic sense for you to make that leap of faith. So I think getting the basic thing is the first thing, like do a bit of a research, background, and then kind of throw it at us like, this is what I have done, can you help me? And we'll help you.
Thank you, Rajesh. That's great. And again, any questions after this for business with British Columbia or Vancouver, please, Rajesh is around to address them to him. With that, I come to Scott. Scott represents Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan, again, is the province in Canada. The name is very difficult to pronounce, but I assure you the business there is very easy to do business there. They are great with agriculture, agri-tech, and Scott understands Punjabi. So I think before I say that what is the USP that will get investors to come into Saskatchewan, one USP is already that he understands when you talk to him. But besides that, from the investment perspective, what is the unique value that you can give them, and how is Saskatchewan best can they give, what is the kind of value that you can give to FDI?
Sure, yeah. So a couple of comments building on what's already been said. We talked about agriculture in Saskatchewan and ag tech, and obviously Saskatchewan is a powerhouse in that field. But given that we're in Ludhiana, and Ludhiana is a manufacturing center, Saskatchewan also has large manufacturing centers. And come to the AI piece, there are emerging clusters in Saskatchewan around aerospace and defense, and then specialty automotive products, and particularly unmanned aerial vehicles. That's a growing field in Saskatchewan, and then electronics and instrumentation. And so, within your industry here, you may have skilled professionals or even your own businesses that would service those industries, and there would be an appetite to see them come into Saskatchewan. In terms of the value proposition from Saskatchewan, really the way that you can look at it is boutique service. So rather than a generalist service where we may point you to a website, we would do that sometimes depending on what your interest is. But if you have a business and that business is profitable and you have an idea around transporting that business or an innovation into Saskatchewan, our team will provide you boutique service to provide you with all of the research that you would need in terms of your supply chain, your real estate needs, your inputs, and then we would invite you to come to Saskatchewan. Our team would support you in surveying the different sites, the different locations, meeting with key stakeholders, including legal, finance, government. And then on top of that, I will send you a link on this through ICBC. Saskatchewan has the most incentives out of the entire country to support innovation and development. And Saskatchewan has a number of innovation centers, innovation hubs, incubators that are not restricted to only Saskatchewan companies. International companies are invited to be part of those incubators and benefit from the collective knowledge in that particular sector, and including benefiting from financing and tax breaks and additional incentives. So Saskatchewan is hungry to bring in qualified businesses for foreign direct investment, either starting your own enterprise in Saskatchewan or investing in a Saskatchewan enterprise, because both are a possibility. But like I said, we would provide a unique boutique sort of service to you along the way. And one thing you should know about Saskatchewan is, I mentioned earlier the challenge with some of the younger generation not wanting to work full time. One synergy between Saskatchewan and Punjab is that the people of Saskatchewan are very down to earth. And so generationally, Saskatchewan has been known to be very hardworking and hospitable because most of Saskatchewan are immigrants themselves. And so in terms of a destination to start your enterprise, Saskatchewan provides the most incentives of any jurisdiction in Canada. There's a global transportation hub in Saskatchewan. Within 1 day of rail or road transport, 67 million customers. Within 2 days, 267 million customers through the North American Free Trade Agreement. That's all based in Saskatchewan. So there's many unique and advantageous incentives for you to consider Saskatchewan, both within the well-known agriculture, agri-food, agri-value space, but also in other sectors that you're currently working in manufacturing and other tech and AI spaces.
Thank you, Scott. Anything that you'd like to advise investors, something that is not very evident, something that you could enlighten them about?
Well, I might not be the one to provide enlightenment. But I would say that, Rajesh's comments were bang on. If you're looking at investment in Saskatchewan, we receive two types of inquiries. One is people who are just looking to immigrate, and what's the least amount of money I can spend to qualify for the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program to come to Saskatchewan and immigrate. That's one stream. Our office doesn't handle those. We will support and pass off to the appropriate office that does look after those. But the second stream is where we provide support, like I said, to vetted, qualified businesses that are looking to make significant investments in Saskatchewan. And to Rajesh's point, if the homework is done and there's the value proposition solid, then you will get very far. But if it's just a general, as we say in Canada, tire kicking, which is just generally looking, generally asking, that won't really be helpful for you. But if you have a specific sector with a specific product or a specific business, then we can really go far together.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Soumil and Rajesh. And as I said, they're all here for further questions. Thank you. Yeah. Sure.
We have, so India is probably second or third largest startup system. We have over 100,000 startups registered in India. And some of these startups would ideally like to have some presence, or they may even, some people sitting here, they may even want to incorporate their startups in Canada. So is there any specific policy to encourage startups, innovative startups more? Or like India, we have, for example, a very thriving system. Now we have over 100 unicorns, and then there are 100 unicorns also on the way. So how does it work? Because a lot of students who are in engineering final year, they may have an idea which can be actually incorporated in Canada, carried out from there.
Would you like to answer that?
Talking about startups, if you look at the dynamics of the sectors where the startups belong, and not only in India, across the world, I would say more than 80% of these startups would be technology-based, where they are impacting the traditional business. For example, Unis Portal, I'll come back to the business that you're doing. So education consultancy has been a business that has been running for ages, but the tech platform has changed the entire dynamics. So majority of startups that we engage with who are looking at Canada are tech-based. And as I mentioned, for technology companies, the roadmap is pretty much clear. So the only, I would say, piece of advice for the startups is, and that's because we engage with a lot of different categories of startups. So unless and until you are generating revenues in India, we won't advise you to explore international market. You may or may not be profitable because many of the unicorns are also not profitable, but they are generating revenues and they have valuations. So if you are generating revenues in India, that would be the starting point for you to explore Canada or let's say any international market. And if you are tech-based, then, as I mentioned, the platform or the roadmap is pretty much clear. There's one, I would say, advice or thought that was coming to my mind when Swayan was mentioning about what you should do. So, I think what you can do as a starting point is go back and look at your kids if they are studying in school, or maybe go back to your school days and probably recollect that our teachers were used to, when they had written something on the blackboard, they always mentioned to us to look at what's written, write it in a piece of paper and then probably read it. And the scientific reason of this activity is that the more body senses that you use in doing an activity, the easier you learn it. So the homework for everybody here is that go back and write it in a piece of paper of what you want to do in Canada. This is what Nandita, you mentioned in your speech of what and how. So if you are able to figure out what you want to do in Canada in a clear piece of paper, in sort of clear identification of what you want to achieve, then how to do it is what we as a team would be able to guide.
Does that answer your question, Dr. Kumar? So, just before anything else, I really want to say thank you to all of you, and I really appreciate your patience. You have been sitting here for the last, I think, almost 2 hours now, listening to information, and this would not happen in Delhi. After every little while, there would have been people just leaving the room and going up and down, and we could not have this session going on. Thank you very much. It's fabulous, and we really look forward to coming back to Ludhiana. And hope there is. Punjabi's love for Canada. Yes, that just shows.
We are serious about Canada.
Yes, we are serious about Canada, and Canada is serious about Ludhiana. You can see from everyone who's come from all over just to be with you and to talk to you and answer your questions. So I think that's a great way to have a relationship. Shubhan, how are we doing? What do you want us to?
Two questions from the audience.
Okay. Yeah, I think networking. So if there is anything specific to business, I really appreciate your introductions and your love for Canada, but anything just specific to a business guidance, we can take 2 questions from you, and otherwise you can do it during the networking as well. But anything? Oh, please. Do you need the mic? I think we just need 1 mic now, so you can give 1 mic.
Yeah, thank you very much for this valuable piece of information, and I would consider my time, very well spent here, listening to all the dignitaries here. And my question is basically to understand what do you guys do at the province level. Let's say if we decide to go to a particular province, and is there any kind of hand-holding available to us, when we land at that piece of, we land at that city, and somebody from the province level can show us around the industrial pockets, the special economic zones, so the benefits of, being in that area, and how do we get connected to other countries in North America, like if we want to export from Canada to the US, and the location side of it. How do we acquire the properties? How do we get into that? Because I did invest in the UK 10 years back, and they did all that kind of hand-holding for us, and I was invited by city councils, 4 of them, and then I visited all of them, and all the city council people, they showed us around, and then we ultimately settled in Nottingham City Council. They even sorted out, admissions for my boys. They were too young at that stage. So, and it really went out to be a very successful venture, and we are growing very well in UK, and we did it in Australia as well. Now I want to be in North America, and I'm very clear I've got to be there, whether I do it in the US or I go to the Canada. But I want to go to the US. I want to come to Canada.
I can start. At the provincial level, I mentioned earlier about boutique service, and that means all of the things that you're talking about. So helping create an itinerary for you based on your sector and your business proposition, introducing you to real estate agents, introducing you to lawyers, introducing you to finance support, introducing you to both provincial legislator or different considerations there, but also municipal governments. And one thing about Saskatchewan that's unique, and I grew up in British Columbia, so I can say this, the southern part of British Columbia, where the largest part of the Punjab, such a that it's hard to have personal touch. Whereas in Saskatchewan, municipal councils are hungry for businesses. And so if you come to their jurisdiction with a viable business opportunity, they'll welcome you with open arms. And like you said, they'll help your children settle in school, they'll help you figure out how to do your shopping, what you can get in that community versus what you might need to go to another community to source. And Saskatchewan is known that way for really wrapping its arms around newcomers. So that's part of our unique value proposition, but I would say if every business that's represented in the room tonight all came on the same day, we might not be able to provide that level of support, but we would do our best to coordinate and create itineraries and make appropriate introductions for you on your behalf.
Thank you, Scott. From a British Columbia government perspective, I think we'll ask the hard questions first before we lay the red carpet. I'm being blunt about it. I would rather want to know, if you would give me the answer, Rajesh, I'm going to invest $50 million, I'm on a plane with you, accompanying you to British Columbia. But if you tell me I just need to study and maybe I'll make up my mind, probably I'll give you a lot of information for you to study, but there'll be no red carpet welcome at that stage until you make kind of a firm decision. So it's always a quid pro quo kind of like give and take, because both sides are testing each other. But the day we kind of sense that you are firmed up, everything will be lined up. There will be people accompanying, as Scott mentioned, to show you different places, jurisdictions. Does this place make sense for you? What are the things that you need, permits, other things? How would you settle in over here if you have to bring family over here? So there are like social integration kind of programs that you will be kind of subjected to. But it's always a give and a take. So we would subject you a lot of information first, and then if we satisfy ourselves that you are the right person to be kind of welcome, there will be a kind of intense hand-holding for you to make that kind of journey across the world.
You will be welcome. Don't worry. So whether it is British Columbia or Saskatchewan, I'm sure you will be welcome with a red carpet. So you're coming to Canada, not USA. So I think that also has been decided today. With that, I think we should end the session. Shubhan, I think any more questions? Okay. So last question. Let's just take this question, and then rest of the questions can be addressed during the networking.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to ask the question. My name is Kavar Singh, and I am representing my company, Raveka Enterprises. We're into manufacturers and exporters of fasteners and hand tools. I have been traveled to more than 32 countries around the globe, especially in European countries and African countries. So I have also tried to travel to Canada for the business opportunity to explore this market. 2 years back, I have tried to apply my visa as a visitor visa because my sister is living there. So my visa got rejected with this answer that I am below 40 and I may be settled there. So anyhow, I again tried for a visa, for a business visa last year with the help of a Federation of Indian Export Organization and for the exhibition there in Vancouver. The exhibition name is BuildX. So there are 50 companies who applied from India, and there are 30 people who applied for visa, but only 10 people got the visa at that time. And luckily I got the visa only for 6 months, but my visa start date was after the exhibition date. So I again unable to travel there and didn't find any business opportunity in Canada. So I already started investing by applying visa again and again, I already start investing to apply in the trade fairs. So is there any procedure or anything, Mr. Rajesh, who's especially from BC, Vancouver, I think it's from BC, right? So something which you can tell me how I can start my process again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, Vancouver is in BC. Thank you for that. Many people don't know that the capital of BC is not Vancouver. It's Victoria. So I think there's a general perception across Canada as well. People think Toronto is the capital, but it's not. So Victoria is the capital of BC. But I think I won't go into the specifics of why they were not so kind, the immigration side of things for your particular case, because discussing individual cases, neither do we get into that realm of discussing individual cases with our immigration side. It's totally a kind of Chinese wall between the trade and the immigration side. But I mean, suffice to say, if you are kind of contemplating to do business in BC or outside of BC, best is to kind of give yourself a heads up and start early. It's so unfortunate that your visa came after the exhibition date and you missed that opportunity. Apply a visa much ahead in time. It's online process. It's effortless. Agents are not needed. You might take the help of agents, but they are not necessary to be kind of always there. And if you happen to kind of go there as a part of the delegation, it helps because it brings certain legitimacy in terms of your interests to go. So when you mentioned the Federation of Indian Export Organization, FAIO, that certainly lends credibility to the group as opposed to you just going on your own. So I think these little decisions of how you go, when you go, for what purpose you are going, and then kind of how much of advanced preparation you are giving yourself for visa application should do the trick. I mean, there is no answer for anybody on the panel to say why this person's visa was rejected and why somebody's was accepted. We would just not know. And if somebody knew, they would perhaps not be able to discuss. I mean, it's just, I think, not sure if it answers your question. It's pure bad luck that it happened with you, but give yourself much ahead of time to go with credible organizations. And if you are involving respective authorities from the other side, for example, Government of British Columbia, if you are in discussion for your business trips, brings more legitimacy. We would then kind of vet if you are going there to sell, which we would not then encourage because our business is to encourage exports out of BC into India. So if you are saying, I have a hand tool, I want to sell it to, say, British Columbia, go to some FIEO, we'll point you to that direction. But if you tell me I'm going to look for a joint venture partner in the science tool, perhaps I would be interested. So I think depends upon from case to case how things pan it out, but giving yourself much ahead of time in preparation and kind of aligning yourself with the right set of organization does the trick.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all the panelists. And thank you to Patrick, Consul General, for coming here. Thank you also to LMA and ASSOCHAM. Over to you, Shobha.
Thank you so much, Nadira, for hosting such a beautiful panel, and I'm sure the audience is very delighted to hear the experts speak on Canada and having all the right questions and right answers from the panel. Not taking much of time, I would like to honor our panelists on the stage, and for that I would request Mr. Ravindra Chandla to join us, along with Mr. Raghav Chaudhary, Joint Secretary Programs, Ludhiana Management Association, and MD, Crescendo Global Leadership, to honor our guests. I would also request Mr. Iqbal Chima to join us for the honors. So can we honor Mr. Rajesh Sharma, Trade Commissioner, Trade and Invest, British Columbia. May I request Mr. Soman Mondal? May I now request Mrs. Scott Matthews? Are ready on Mrs. Herbie Tokan? May I now request Mr. Charanjeev Singh? Can we have Dr. Prem Kumar? And finally, the amazing moderator of the day, Ms. Nadira. Can we have the round of applause for Nadira? Really had amazing questions framed by her for the panel. Real hard work. It takes days of planning for the whole event. Thank you so much to all the panelists. I would request Ms. Nadira to stay on the stage. We'll be closing the sessions in few more minutes. Before that, we all are lucky to witness a very glorious moment of having an MOU between ASSOCHAM and ICBC. Can we have Ms. Nadira and Mr. Ravinder Chandla on the stage to sign the MOU? I would also request Mr. Patrick to join us on the stage to witness the glorious moment of signing of the MOU. Can we also request Mr. Iqbal Chima to join us on the stage? big organizations coming together, signing an MOU for future growth and business together. Can we have a big round of applause?
Now we can put it there.
Thank you so much. I know we all are very hungry, but we cannot go beyond I would request Ma'am Harpreet Kaur Kang to kindly give away the vote of thanks for the event.
Good evening. I'm going to keep this very short. I know everybody's cold, hungry, and also hungry for some questions. So, turns out, Canadians lured our kids, and now they want to lure your money too. So beware and stay strong, okay? But a couple of quick things. I think if you want to go ahead and invest, this is a perfect time. You're 2.5 years into the government in Canada right now. Of course, the second or third term, whatever Mr. Trudeau is doing in the Labour Party. Provided we all understand that Trudeau is not a very popular figure, as we speak, and likely you're going to see another Pierre, not Justin Pierre this time, another Pierre. Somehow Canadians love the French name, and when the other gentleman from the Conservative Party takes over, we may not have the same policies. So therefore, it's a good consideration. Also, as I talk, and I'm trying to fill in the shoes for the President here, I think we've got one great SIPA with UAE and a few really good working PTAs and FTAs. We've got Mercosur, we've got Nepal, we've got Singapore, we've got a bunch of them. But this will be the full-fledged SIPA if it comes through, the only one that India would have signed. And it's very thoroughly thought out. As Dr. Prem Kumar was pointing out earlier, we've had about 10 rounds of negotiations already, and likely this year we should be getting this through. So a very comprehensive and far more superior agreement than a regular FTA. So there's a lot to take over because this city is primarily of entrepreneurs and there's a lot to lead to. Having said that, let me simply go on to do what Sherman asked me to come here and do. Thank you. Should I go left to right? British Columbia, Canada in general, Saskatchewan, as bad as Massachusetts, Nadira, ICBC, ASSOCHAM, Mr. Chiranjeev, and finally our very own Dr. Prem Kumar. We are LMA, and everybody else from LMA. So nice of you to come, join us today. It's been a lovely evening. I hope we will taking home more, and do join us for fellowship and dinner. Good evening.